Meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is partly sunny and 74 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis, and the weather sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores, The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, we've got Michael Kelly sitting in for Chris Ronchi.
Woohoo! It's like having a substitute teacher.
Michael walked in and announced that today is basically a play day because it's kind of like a holiday substitute teacher. When the substitute teacher would roll in the cart and you knew you were just going to watch a movie.
Rather than reading The Grapes of Wrath, you were going to watch it. Which meant that the teacher probably had a rough night, didn't want to have to deal with a bunch of kids, and was okay with you sleeping as long as you behaved.
And that is because Michael is here because Chris Ronchi is on assignment in Washington, D.C. He's got a long to-do list. He is going to check on the UFC fighting stage that they are erecting in front of the White House.
It's like a U2 concert set they're building.
Yep. He's going to check on the East Wing demolishing / ballroom, see how things are going. And he's also going to check on the reflecting pool, which is being painted blue. We're assuming he's going to climb the fence, and we'll see what happens, because if he climbs the fence and he gets arrested, and he will claim that the DOJ is being weaponized against him, and he'll get slush fund money.
I think there's a better chance that if he climbs a fence, he will get shot.
Well,
I think arrest will be secondary. Based on what I've seen that goes on around D.C., and there's lots of gunshots happening these days, I don't think they're going to be too cool with a guy trying to play climb the fence games.
Well, there's only one way to find out,
Come on,
and he's
Ronch.
taking one for the team. But Michael's here with me in the meantime.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
Always glad when Michael's here, but especially glad when we have city issues to discuss. And the St. Louis Board of Aldermen and Board of Police Commissioners continue to disagree. 5 of the 6 police commissioners did not appear at a budget meeting yesterday.
Could AI be coming for your job? Well, we'll learn how to AI-proof your job at 11:30 today.
And the Cardinals swept by the Brewers. I believe it's the first time since, over 10 years. It's been well over 10 years. I'm not going to misstate the year because I can't remember, but it was 2011, 2013. It's been a long time. They were swept by the Brewers in Milwaukee, I should clarify, losing yesterday 2-1. They are off today. And Michael, we'll just kick it off with the Cardinals.
It was particularly gutting yesterday. Do you have the MLB app on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday, in the middle of the afternoon, I'd forgotten that it was a day game. I was working. And it said the MLB app had a no-hitter alert was popped up. Now, that happens no matter what team it's happening with. Rarely, if ever, is it usually a Cardinal indication. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's our pitcher. So I run to the television. I go through that goofy process of trying to figure out if I'm on an app or if I'm on the cable or whatever, and I pull it up just in time to see the shot into left field that busted it up.
So frustrating. And the Cardinals offense.
Pathetic.
So right now, because we know it started out, it was a ton of fun. And they were hitting. J.J. Weatherholt was hitting. Jordan Walker was hitting. Things were going well, and then it's petered out. So the Cardinals scored 2 runs. Just 2 runs in the series against the Brewers. Yeah. They have 1 RBI base hit since Saturday and none with a runner in scoring position in the past 29 innings they've played. And against the Brewers, they were 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position. So it's tough to win games.
That's dismal. Now, the relief, though, is that we're coming back home tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's our rivalry, the Cubs. So there's a good reason for everybody to come downtown, take your shirt off, whip it around over your head. Hopefully there'll be a huge crowd, a lot of energy to go out and maybe reignite this rivalry with the Baby Bears.
Are you going to go tarps off in your section?
No, I don't think tarps off is accepted in my section.
Too
and
fancy.
especially from me. Now, if I were to be involved in the tarps off game, I would have to wear like the shirt over a t-shirt, and so I could just take off the outer shirt because I look at those young men that are out there whipping that shirt.
I thought they were all shapes and sizes.
There may
wearing
have
tarps
been,
off.
but when you're this white and you look like Casper the Ghost, you're going to stick out amongst the rest of the group.
What if you wear, one of the muscle tees, muscly man T-shirts, the novel T-shirts?
I'll have to consider doing that, but I'm not necessarily a shirts off in public kind of guy.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's understandable.
I see you're always around the runners. Those are the guys who have no problem whipping the shirts off.
I feel like half of my life is no shirts crew.
Right, but you're dealing with guys with washboard abs and who eat granola and turnips as their
granola and turnips.
Yeah, that's their
turnip was the first vegetable you came up with.
Well, I mean, what could be more repulsive than eating a turnip? And most of those guys that are getting up, running 10 miles in the morning, they're not eating. They're not having a blueberry muffin.
Right. It's not. You're like, let's just be real. Let's
what
get some
about
real
that?
people.
When you go running in the morning with these folks, do you guys get done and think, let's go eat a greasy McDonald's hamburger?
So not fast food, but a lot of those guys do. Yeah. There's two sayings. One of them applies to me as a 42-year-old woman, which is you can't outrun a bad diet. So I eat pretty healthy, but I eat a lot, right? Like I'm all about volume. I will eat a ton. You
consume a lot, huh?
I consume a lot, but it's pretty healthy. With those guys, if you're 25, the saying is if the furnace is hot enough, anything will burn.
Really?
And so you will hear, get soda, hamburgers, and so forth, because you just need calories. If you're a 25-year-old male running 100 miles a week, you just need calories.
Yep.
My metabolism is not quite the same.
Yeah, but there's something super attractive about going out with a female and she actually eats. Because I've been on dates where you're just watching people move around the food and they have a couple of bites, etc. There's nothing better than sitting across from a gal who puts the feed bag on.
Here's what I'll tell you: Qdoba opens at 10:30 on the weekends, and if you want to bet that I sit in the parking lot waiting for that sucker to open, so I can get a burrito bowl, that is what I do.
You get the bowl, huh? You don't want those extra calories wrapped up.
I like both. The bowl is just really satisfying.
Are you a pinto or a black bean gal?
Black bean.
Ditto. I love black beans.
Yeah.
What is it about black beans? Because they don't really have much taste, but they're really good.
Pinto beans can be a little mealy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I did want to ask.
Hit me.
Because we brought up the Cardinals. Either of you gentlemen going to the Cubs series?
Yes. Tomorrow night.
Because, so as you pointed out, the Cards and Cubs are currently tied for second place.
Yeah.
But that's going to change tonight because the Cubs play and the Cardinals don't.
Right.
This is a big division.
Well, unless the Cubs
rivalry.
lose.
Well, it's going to
yeah. They could go into third place.
Yeah.
Well, we have the day off.
Cubs play the Pirates tonight at 5:40.
Oh, did they get that Snakeys or whatever his name is? The guy.
Skeens.
Skeens.
I don't know. Snakes. You're obsessed with snakes.
You're obsessed with snakes.
Oh, don't even get me started.
You are going to the game this weekend?
No, I'm leaving town this weekend.
Right.
Tomorrow morning, I am getting on a flight and going down to West Palm Beach to see Dave Matthews play, who, by the way, is not coming through St. Louis this year like most musical acts. Not making their way through the Lou anymore.
But that'll be fun. That'll be fun for you to go.
I'm looking forward to it.
Before we get into more fun things, because in a few minutes, I would like to tell everybody about my experience playing the lottery, which I just learned was not the lottery. I thought I played the lottery, but at any rate.
Were you playing dice in an alley? What were you doing?
There was some guys out in the park here. They were throwing dice. I said, live a little. So more issues here now, Michael, with the police board. Just because it did happen yesterday, of course, the aldermen were frustrated with the Police Board of Commissioners that they were not showing up for these budget meetings, even though all the fights between the commissioners and the aldermen has been about the budget. But they weren't showing up to the meeting, so the aldermen voted to issue subpoenas. And yesterday was a budget meeting. The police board did not show up.
Right.
The mayor was there because technically she's on the board, but no other members of the board showed up. But a lieutenant did drop off letters calling the subpoenas invalid, and then plus a bunch of binders stuffed with hundreds of pages of documents.
All right, so this is all commentary that I'm just going to have here.
Okay.
Commentary. I'm frustrated.
Yeah.
I don't know who's right and who's wrong in this fight. But I do know that a year ago, the governor who ran statewide telling us all that he wanted to put the police department under state control because it was going to bring stability and normalcy back to policing in the city of St. Louis, etc. Here we are a year later with very good people. I know a lot of the people who serve on the board of police commissioners. I know a lot of the people who serve on the board of aldermen. All good people on all sides of this issue, all with valid concerns. Are we in a better spot a year than we were a year ago? I'm not sure we are. At least we understood the sides a year ago. We had a mayor who didn't want to fund the police, and we had aldermen who, from some perspective, were checked out. Now we have this idea that we're going to fund the police, a mayor that was sympathetic to it and ran on it, yet we have all this conflict, strife, fighting that's going on. This is, I don't understand how we've gotten to this point. We had a statewide election. We had a local election. Both said they wanted to focus on policing and make it something important. Kara Spencer ran on that issue. Mike Kehoe ran on that issue. Here we sit watching these folks on a daily basis have a food fight over what they both said they were going to do. It seems to me this is simple. Let's get these folks into a room, have an adult conversation. Now, apparently those conversations are happening with the board right now, but it's not working out because it ultimately has to go before the city. Governor, get in here. This is what you wanted to have done. If it's not you because you're running a state, designate somebody to get in here. I just don't get it. I also believe that the lawyer for the police board, who's probably doing his job, seems to be chasing headlines to me. This is just so disappointing that a year after local control, we're seeing this gigantic food fight. And quite honestly, as an independent observer who's supportive of the police, I'm not sure we're in a better spot today than we were a year ago.
Well, and that was my question. You brought up the attorney for the police board. Okay, if you know some of the people or a lot of the people on the police board and they're good people and presumably they want the city to do well and the police in the city to do well, why is there so much chaos? Who's driving the chaos? Is it the attorney? Because, again, I'm an outsider here, but it looks like, okay, is the police board, are they working with the mayor? Because we know the mayor was, complaining about, it seems rightfully complaining about the police board dropping meetings on her or papers late at night for some kind of meeting that's going to take place the next day. Even on Mother's Day, what did they give her some issue on late on Mother's Day and expect her to be ready to go the next morning?
Yeah.
So there's that, which seems disrespectful or chaotic.
Yeah.
Plus not showing up to the budget meetings.
Yeah, so the mayor is an ex officio member, so she's a member as a result of being the mayor of the city of St. Louis. It would be Tashara Jones if she was there or anybody else who would have been the mayor. At the end of the day, she's only one vote of 6 that's there. The other 5 are appointed by the governor. They are pushing forward the governor's agenda. They want to refund the police department, which I think a lot of people voted for. We've seen it defunded over the last 10 years. But this isn't what we voted for. I mean, everybody has a problem sometimes with folks getting into a room and working things out. If there was ever a time to get into a room together and figure things out, it's now. We are a year into this charade. I don't know that we're any better than we were a year ago. Yet what we do know is we have 2 elected officials from the state and from the city who both said, hey, I want to focus on policing and make this work. So it seems to me there's some commonality that exists there. It's just that they're not capable of communicating with each other. Now, why is the board yielding so much to the lawyer? Because I think this is a legal process, right? There's lawsuits that are going on, et cetera, which is all the more reason that somebody's got to come into a room, make these folks sit down and have a compromise. Because if we're going to sit and litigate every issue now going forward and how we're going to police the city of St. Louis, it's going to be even worse than it was a year ago if that's how we're going to do it.
Yeah, it's been nothing but headlines and chaos, as you've said so far.
Yeah, the pox on all their houses. This is not what we voted for. This was not what was promised.
That's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. When we come back, I have a fun story from yesterday that I thought I played the lottery. I guess technically I didn't. But at any rate, we'll get into that. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
All eyes will be on Mizzou men's basketball this year, with one of the nation's top recruiting classes coming to the Zoo. You don't want to be watching from the couch while Mizzou Arena is rocking, so grab your black and gold and experience it. Go to MUTigers.com/MBBTIX to get your name on the season ticket request list for next season. Don't wait. Visit MUTigers.com/MBBTIX today. MIZ.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh Radner, and I am so excited to tell you about How We Made Your Mother, a rewatch podcast looking back at How I Met Your Mother. And I'm here with Craig Thomas, who co-created the show along with Carter Bays. Hi, Craig.
Hey, Josh. Somehow it has been 20 years since the show premiered. I'm going to check the math on that. 10 years since it went off the air, and we thought that made this a perfect time to look back, see what the hell we did, and why the show still seems to resonate with fans around the world today.
Follow and listen to How We Made Your Mother wherever you get your podcasts.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer. Haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
100 years of service and still at your service. KMOX.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark Scores with you on a Thursday. We were talking about the ongoing battle between the Board of Aldermen and the Police Board, and a 573 texts in, I get the need for the lawyer, but their lawyer sucks, referring to the Police Board lawyer. Another texter says, I am a former paralegal, 13 years, and the police board's attorney is a disaster. Is their attorney related to Kim Gardner?
That's the new measurement of just chaos. What did the judge say? A rudderless ship
of chaos, which is very poetic, by the way. I love that. Okay, so I never play the lottery. I talk about winning the lottery. And as my dad will point out, well, you can't win the lottery if you don't play.
Yep.
And I don't play. I've played once, and this was several years ago when the Powerball was like $1 billion.
Of course. You got to buy a ticket.
So I walk into the gas station, and I'm like, yes, I would like to play the lottery. And the attendant says, okay, which one? I said, the one that's on TV. She goes, the Powerball? I said, I guess. I don't know. Whatever one's $1 billion. And I said, how do I play? And then I could see in her eyes, like, she hated me. Yeah, she's like, come on, lady, move on.
I got a special person
She goes,
here.
well, do you want to pick your own numbers or just print them out? I said, what do people do? She goes, they do both. So I said, okay, just print them
me
out.
some.
Yeah, and that was it. That was my experience with the lottery. So
did you get any numbers?
No, I don't think so at all. No.
All right.
But yesterday, I was pretty tired, and I thought, I'm going to go play the lottery today because I always talk about it. You know how you do those conversations with your friends? If I win the lottery, this is what I'm going to do.
Right, totally.
And I have those conversations all the time, and my friends always tell me, well, you don't play the lottery. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want to play a big lottery. Like, I don't need to win $1 billion. 50,000 would be great.
Okay.
I'd like to win 100,000, 50,000. So I walk in and I look down and I see all the tickets.
Like the scratch-off ones?
Well, yeah.
And you thought that was the lottery?
Well, I did because I thought they were all the lottery. So I guess like I get it that there was no Powerball. I knew I didn't have to watch TV to see if I won. So it is just a scratch off, but I called it the lottery. It's not the lottery. It's just a scratch off.
Okay.
So there was a scratch off for like $100,000.
Hey now.
I thought, perfect. That's plenty of money for me. And so it was $5 a ticket.
Okay.
And I thought, that's pretty expensive.
Yeah, right?
So I bought two.
Okay.
I said, okay, I'll buy two scratch offs.
I'm splurging.
So I bought two scratch offs. I go to my car.
That's 2 gallons of gas, too.
Maybe.
Right.
And then I take a quarter and I do the scratch offs. And I won $10.
Got it back.
I matched a number.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I won $10. I thought, I wanted to go home, but I thought, you're never going to come back to this gas station. So just go in. And so I went in and I said, hey, I just won $10. Can I just have 2 more tickets? She said, sure. So I go, thank you. And I grab my 2 tickets. I go in the car. I scratch them off. I won $100.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
That's awesome.
So then I walk back in. And
Did you fill your tank up?
I said, no. I said, I think I just won $100. She's like, oh, yeah, you did. I said, can I just have like 2 more tickets? But, have $90 in cash and 2 more tickets. She said, sure. So
they got you addicted
I
now.
get the 2 tickets. Well, now I'm a gambler. Now I need to call 1-800. I have a problem.
Yeah.
So I go back in the car and I scratch them off. I win $10 again.
So you got $100.
I go back in and I say, I started laughing because I've gone in 3 times with this lady. I said, hey, I go, we're friends now, right? I go, I just won $10. And she said, I have to be completely honest with you. Never in my life have I seen someone buy 2 scratch offs, win something, come back, buy 2 more, win something, come back, buy 2 more, win something, come back, buy 2 more, 3 times in a row. And she goes, do you want to cash out? I go, I'm not spending any more of my money, but since I just won $10, I go, I have to buy 2 more, right? Like, we have to see how long this lasts. She's like, we kind of do.
Right.
So I bought 2 more, and I didn't win any.
Were you playing the same scratch-off game? Because there's like 20 different kinds you can play.
I just kept buying the same 2 scratch-offs.
Yeah.
And so technically I won $120 worth, but I spent $20 of the ticket money on tickets and $10 of my own. So basically,
you won $110. You invested $10.
Yes, but then remember I spent.
Okay,
I bought.
that's
So
right.
I walked back with $80.
Congratulations.
You know what? Feeling pretty good. I was $80 richer. It took 5 minutes
Right.
3 trips into the gas station. But isn't that funny? I go, I've never won anything because I got 40 scratch-offs for my 40th birthday.
Okay.
And I'm so unlucky that I'm pretty sure I got the one scratch-off that's like, oh, you actually owe the state $100.
I'm not a scratch-off guy. I'm whenever, like you said, the Powerball's at 600 million or 700 million, I'll go in and buy $10 worth of Powerball. And it's more for me the idea, like you said, what would I do with this money? Okay, I'd give $10 million to this thing. I'd take $10 million to my family, and I'd keep the rest for myself, blah, blah, blah. And I play that game in my head, and then I never get a number.
Right.
And, you know, I have an electric car now.
Mm-hmm.
So I rarely go to a gas station. And so I'm not out purchasing lottery tickets like I used to. Which, by the way, we ought to do this sometime, a little segment on gas stations, because once you're a person who doesn't have to go to a gas station anymore, and I know people hate the electric car owners, etc., gas stations are the most filthy place in the world. Just from the second you open the front door to the walking around, grabbing the stuff, I'm talking about the nice ones too.
Yeah.
They're filthy. And you don't realize it until you haven't been there. But I do like to buy the Powerball, and it's the dream.
Yeah.
Now, the scratch-off, I would have probably have had to mix it up a little bit. If I would have won 3 times in a row on that particular scratch-off, you got to think, wow, I've beat the odds here. I probably ought to go play the Monopoly one now or something.
Yeah. I you know what? I just had to keep it simple.
Is lunch on you today?
Yeah.
No, not until I win the 100,000.
Oh, the 100 grand.
See, you got to set your standard lower. I don't need $1 billion. $100 grand would be wonderful. And it says taxes paid.
So growing up, we used to have these things called parish picnics at my little place, and they had these things called pull tabs.
Yep.
And, I mean, here we are, 7, 8, 10-year-old kids being indoctrinated in gambling while our parents and grandparents are all in playing bingo.
Right.
Yet another gambling thing that the Catholic Church is doing. And then we're all out there playing pull tabs. For some reason, as I look back at that now, that kind of is a little twisted logic that was going on from my church.
A vice and a parish picnic. That's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Michael has some thoughts on Jill Biden's comments yesterday about the infamous Joe Biden debate performance. That's next on The Chris and Amy Show.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Before a nation, there was an idea. Before freedom, there was a sacrifice. This year, KMOX marks America's 250th birthday. Step into history with John Hancock and Michael Kelly, Sunday mornings at 8, as they pull you into the moment where everything was on the line. This is the sound of a nation being born. Celebrate America, 250 years strong, with Hancock and Kelly, Sunday mornings at 8, only on KMOX. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
It is 75 degrees in downtown St. Louis at the Arch. Clouds will blow in this afternoon. A high of 85. Going to be a beautiful day in St. Louis. Chance of rain tomorrow, a high of 81.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. After 15 years and over 50,000 cancellations, I can tell you with confidence, we know how to get you out of your timeshare. Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit guide absolutely free with all your options for cancellation. Attorneys, this was meant to be funny, so please don't sue me, especially my friend Kenneth from Black River Falls, Wisconsin.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767. 800-838-6767.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test.
This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new home, and the Reserve at Wildwood is where you want to be. Park-like setting with front porches on every home, connected trails for exploring, walk to Main Street and Wildwood Town Center, top-rated Rockwood schools, and legendary McKelvey quality you can count on, featuring James Hardy siding. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and learn what makes the Reserve so special. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
The smartest way to do your homework is Heckman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the trained professionals at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their team will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready to help. Also, check out their expanded paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deals, specials, and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims, and in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
How can people reach us, Amy?
314-436-7900. We love to hear from you, including this 314. Michael, we still have parish picnics and pull tabs.
Yeah. I haven't been to a parish picnic in a long time, but we're teaching them little Catholic kids early how to gamble and play bingo.
You get them while they're young.
I was addicted to that pull tab game. You know, you go ride one of the little Ferris wheels or something they had on the parking lot, and then you'd run over and play pull tabs for a while. Little did you know you're getting indoctrinated into the lottery.
Well, I can see it. I felt like the third time that I went in to buy tickets because I had won, I felt like I have a gambling addiction.
Yeah. I consider myself to be a fairly smart person, and some of those scratch-off games that you buy the tickets for, I can't tell if I won. I, scratched all the things off, and I'm like, okay, well, did I win? So you're kind of like you're in a foreign country with their money, and you don't know what stuff costs. You just kind of hold it out in the hopes that they will generously tell you
if you won.
How much you won.
Yeah. Nope. We have another 636. That is too funny. Twice in my life, a group of us split buying full rolls of scratch-offs. Oh, I don't know how many are in those.
Oh.
Both times we did not break even. Go figure. Yeah, I know. Like I said, this was really unusual. The fact that I walked in and 5 minutes later had $80 in cash after playing, winning 3 times in a row is pretty wild.
Well, that was a good day for Amy. You should have bought one of the on that kind of a hot streak. You should have bought some Powerball tickets because then you're going for the millions.
The real lottery.
Hey, speaking of winning and losing, yesterday I saw a snippet from Jill Biden as it related to her husband's failed attempt to run for president for re-election. And of course, I was a Biden supporter and really wanted Joe Biden to win this election. Obviously had seen the deterioration of Joe Biden like everybody else had, but the president had made the decision he was going to run again. We were kind of locked into it. And one of the biggest cheerleaders of that Joe Biden's this robust, hardworking, can't keep up with him kind of guy was his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. Well, let's listen to what she had to say yesterday.
I wasn't horrified. I was frightened because I had never ever seen Joe like that.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Before or since Never.
Or since?
Yes. Or
You've
since.
never seen him like
Never.
that?
No.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
So that was Jill Biden talking about the infamous debate where the president just melted down. And the supporter or non-supporter of Joe Biden watching that was really uncomfortable.
It was sad.
It was obviously a man who wasn't with his whole full faculties. What was most disappointing now, especially now that Jill Biden is coming out and saying this, is she was one of the staunchest defenders of him. Hey, you know, this he was lacking of sleep. We can't keep up with him. He's working so hard. You remember Jean-Pierre?
Corinne Jean-Pierre said she couldn't keep up with him. And she's like a triathlete, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
And all these people were saying that the president, but believe your eyes, what we were witnessing before us. And there was a lot of criticism during that time, if you remember, that Jill Biden was the one who was pushing Joe Biden into running. The Biden family liked being in the White House. I think, you know, he did a fine job as president, but it just was so disappointing to me yesterday that this comes out and there's an admission now that, I thought he was having a stroke and this probably wasn't a good deal. Why did you put us all through this? We all saw it going on. And now it really, you know, as a person who didn't want to think that this was being a selfish motive of the Biden family not wanting to leave the White House, now that she comes out and says this stuff, I believe it. I believe these people didn't want to give up on power. They didn't want to leave, you know, the White House. They didn't want to leave the trappings of being the most powerful family in the world.
So, and my take on the Jill Biden interview and comments that she had never seen that before or since is not very charitable. Because my first thought is, wow, you're a lying liar who lies, because that's just not true. We all saw with our eyes what happened. And, you know, there was the book that came out with Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson. Alex Thompson is now a CNN political analyst. They wrote this highly, you know, documented book, spoke to over 200 people. And in fact, Alex Thompson was on CNN last night, talking about his reaction to Jill Biden's comments. And Alex on CNN said, we talked to over 200 people very close to the Bidens in the circle, politics, family, everything. All of those people had seen stuff like that before and since. This is what Alex Thompson is saying on CNN, that everyone said, no, we had seen the president freeze up like this. We had seen him struggle, which only leaves the option that Jill Biden is still lying, which is frustrating. But it was frustrating then because, like you said, whether you were for Joe Biden or against Joe Biden, I viewed that as elder abuse at that point.
Right.
Like, can you imagine if that was your dad or your husband and you let them suffer like that in
I've
the
been
public
running
eye?
on stage to get in front of him and say, man, we got to get out of here. Something's not well. And he shouldn't have been running. And, you know, I don't know. It kind of reinforces that folks were lying to you in the same way. Now, for those of you who may be on the right and be like, well, we saw it all the time and, you know, they were lying to us. I kind of feel the same way about what they're saying about President Trump's health now. I mean, I can see before my eyes that he's got bruises on himself, that his legs have blown up. Yet I'm getting told by everybody, oh, this is the healthiest human being to ever be president of the United States. And at the end of the day, these people are humans. Why not tell us the truth about everything?
Yeah.
And I just lost so much credibility, in particular for the Biden family, that they stood by, they perpetuated that narrative. They ultimately cost the Democratic Party the White House because of how late it went down. Then we don't have a primary. We anoint Kamala Harris. You know, I don't know that John F. Kennedy, Barack Obama themselves could have won an election with the situation that existed in the post
for Kamala Harris,
for Kamala Harris. In the same way that I'm not sure that, you know, the Republicans are going to do well in August. You can kind of see things coming down the tracks, but lost a lot of respect for the Biden family, and in particular, Dr. Jill Biden, that now she's coming out and admitting this when we all knew it to be the case then, and she was carrying the water. It would have been better just to say nothing.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And like you said, there was definitely a pushback to the Bidens, right? And there's this like immune response that comes when people, the party, if you're the party in power, it's hard to stay in power. And you had this immune response to the Bidens where, Trump is going to be better. Well,
right
now we are looking at legal issues and constitutional issues and war and true corruption with, a slush fund being created that even some of the staunchest MAGA members of Congress are concerned about, a straight up slush fund that was created.
Yeah, and doesn't it reinforce to you that when people tell you stuff that I don't necessarily believe it, anymore? Yeah. I mean, the White House used to be a place where, sure, they're playing politics. They're going to go out and do. We witnessed this with our own eyes. We all watched it. Mm-hmm. And they went out there and pushed this narrative in the same way that people are pushing a narrative that prices are coming down. We all witness it with our own eyes that the gasoline prices are through the roof. I just don't know how dumb people think that the American voters are, but we can see through this. And what ultimately for me is the loss of respect for the Biden family putting the president through that. And then the political handlers, they should have known better.
Yeah, no, there actually have a texter that says, Michael, I legitimately felt bad for our president when that happened. His handlers should have jumped in. Another texter says it definitely was elder abuse the Biden family committed, and they should be deeply ashamed. But I will say, yeah, the lying is so frustrating, but we're also seeing lies right in front of our eyes, whether it is, like you said, the gas prices or about inflation or the rewriting of what happened on January 6th.
Right.
If you go to the White House website, I mean, it is straight up gaslighting on what happened on January 6th, this great patriotic moment when we saw police officers get beaten and the fear in the eyes of members of Congress as they ran from a mob that was breaking windows and storming the Capitol. I remember watching that day in horror because there was so much chaos. And now we're seeing, how stupid does this administration think the American people are that they can rewrite what happened on January 6th? And so, like you said, it feels like we are living in a post-truth society where it's politics as entertainment industrial complex that we've got going on.
And when you get to the point when you run into those people who are like, you know what, I've just given up on politics. They're all liars. They don't make any sense. I've quit participating. There's two perfect examples of why people are doing it, and I can't say that I blame them. I think they're wrong to throw their hands up and walk away. But the Biden's lying about his health, the president lying about January 6th. Who are you to believe? Oh, forget it. I'm done with them all.
That's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy. Mark Scores. Did you see this? Is next.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX. And I do like to brag that it's been my official sportsbook longer than it has been for the station. The station only goes back to the beginning of this year, and I go back, I don't know, at least 7 or 8 years, but I had to travel before to use it, and now I get to play at home. And right now, I'm playing along at home with the NBA playoffs because FanDuel is giving me better payouts on same-game parlays. You get the same benefit. So more ways to build and more value every time you play. You can stack your picks your way for every single game, every matchup, and every moment, whether it's spreads, player points, threes, whatever. You can build it all into one same-game parlay and go for the bigger payout. So if you're getting same-game parlays in your line to go, then this NBA postseason, you want to be doing that on FanDuel. It's more options, better payouts, all NBA playoffs long. Just go to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get yourself started. And remember, FanDuel's an official partner of the NBA. Play your game. Also remember that you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
If you're struggling to hear conversations, TV, or the people you love, now there's an easier, more affordable solution without spending thousands. Audien Hearing makes high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98 with free shipping and dedicated one-on-one support in the comfort of your own home. No doctor's offices, no pressure. Clearer hearing delivered right to your door. Join over 1 million happy customers hearing life more clearly. Visit AudienHearing.com. That's AUDIEN Hearing.com.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett, board-certified master arborist and owner of Timberline Professional Tree Care. The weather's warming up, flowers are blooming, and it's time to get back outside and start thinking about your trees. When you reach for your phone to call a tree contractor, we hope you'll give Timberline the opportunity to earn your business. Timberline is locally owned and operated and fully dedicated to delivering the best overall customer experience while providing the highest quality care for your trees. Every one of our crews includes at least one ISA certified arborist on site, not just in the office, but right there at your home, so you can be confident the work is done safely, correctly, and always with your tree's best interests in mind. From planting and fertilization to pruning and removal, we're committed to excellence in everything trees. So when it's time to make that call Timberline Professional Tree Care at 636-479-7475 or visit us online at stltreecare.com.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Hello, 4th of July. Back-to-back Jack. Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight.
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX and the free Odyssey app. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
What you got?
All right. Viewership of the most prestigious English spelling competition, the Scripps National Spelling Bee Finals. Apparently, it's been dipping a bit. It's on the rocks, they said. So, ESPN host, Matt, I know you are familiar with Mina Kimes.
Yeah,
she does a lot of like NFL in-depth explanations of, the strengths and weaknesses of the different players and coaches. So she will be hosting the Scripps Spelling Bee, and it will be aired on ESPN. So in 2012, over 1 million people watched the Scripps Spelling Bee final on ESPN, but last year only 488,000. So it's been sliced in half in the past 10 or so years. So they're trying to get viewership back up for the Spelling Bee. I didn't even know it was on ESPN.
I was going to say, have you ever watched it?
No.
I usually just see the highlight.
I've always seen the highlights, and especially back in the old days, because it was always, there was always a homeschooler.
Yeah.
A few homeschoolers in there.
Did you ever participate? Like, we used to have a spelling bee in our class. I was always out in the first or second round. They'd give me restaurant or something, and I couldn't. I still to this day can't spell it.
Restaurant's tough. I am not a great speller because, believe it or not, I kind of taught myself how to read when I was like 3 and 4 years old, which is wild. But it was a lot of like memorizing words, and I could see them. So I know some phonics, but like I didn't. Because by the time kindergarten rolled around, I was like, hey, I can read this. I know these words.
Right.
I think I missed some of the phonics. So maybe that's it, or maybe it's just because I never took Latin, and a lot of my friends did. They all
Really?
did Latin. Yeah, Latin and Greek was really big in the homeschool
I bet
world.
they must have been some exciting people taking Latin.
And Greek. You had to do both.
My
Koine
parents
Greek.
took Latin, but I think they were forced to do it as Catholic kids.
Yeah.
You know, they had to learn Latin. And by the time I got around, they were done with that.
So I feel like I'm a good reader and a fine speller. I don't know.
So you're a homeschooled person, and I tell people this all the time. They're like, "What's Amy like?" And I'm like, "Amy's the most educated person I know." Hey, you really are. I mean, you're incredibly educated, well-read, incredibly smart person. And so when people ask me, what's Amy like? That's what she's like.
Oh.
All right. Hey, Amy, did you see this? There's a giant claw going up in front of the White House for
what?
this
Claw?
UFC fight that's
Yeah.
going down. It looks like a claw that's coming down out of the sky with some aliens. Listen to this. Dana White, he's the guy who owns the UFC. What's that stand for?
Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Yeah, I'm not into it. I don't like, I
it
don't mind
makes me kinda
boxing, but I
gag.
don't want to watch people knee each other in private areas.
And a lot of body fluids go flying.
Yeah, not
Ugh.
good. The owner is spending $60 million to build a temporary arena on the White House lawn. This event will lose $30 million. So they think that they'll make back half of the money on pay-per-view, et cetera, that will come from it. There's only 5,000 people who will be at the White House. Dana White's even paying $700,000 just to replace the grass. So when this is over with, they've got to roll it up, take all the dead grass away, and roll out some new grass. $700,000 just to do that. Now, to run the math against what a typical UFC fight costs, they had one not too long ago in September of last year at the Sphere in Vegas, and that one cost $21 million. So this one's costing almost 3 times that for them to do this in front of the White House. How would people have reacted had they put an NBA basketball court in front of the White House and some of the NBA players would have been playing in front of Barack Obama? You think that would have been accepted?
Well, judging by how the tan suit went over, I'm guessing no. Also, I don't think people would have been thrilled with a 22-foot gold statue of Barack Obama either.
No.
Little golden calf-ish.
Although he just built his library up in Chicago. I'm interested to go to it, but boy, it looks ugly from pictures.
Really? Like
Have
just
you seen
modern?
the building?
No.
It's like, I don't know, it's like 20 stories tall. Doesn't look like there's any windows on it. It's got this weird, like, a Lego look about it. I'm not so sure about it.
No, that's interesting. That's sad.
Have you been to a presidential library?
No.
They're cool as can
Because
be.
my 2 favorite libraries are the Central Library here downtown,
Beautiful,
St. Louis.
like you're in New York City.
I'm not gonna lie, the Kirkwood Library with all of its windows is so beautiful. Yes, I got a library card at the Kirkwood Library because I love it so much. But I've never been. What presidential libraries have you been to?
Clinton, Lincoln. That's all I can remember right now. But the coolest library I've ever been to was at Trinity College in Dublin.
Oh,
where the Book of
gosh.
Kells is.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that means, but it's a big thing with the Irish, and I went and saw it. You'd like it.
That sounds incredible. I did. You know what? I did go to an amazing library in Boston.
I bet.
I think it was the Boston Public Library. It was
Right?
amazing. That is Michael Kelly. I'm Amy. Mark scores when we come back. Matt Pauley, host of KMOX's Sports Open Line, Cardinals pre and post game. He'll join us. We've got some questions about the Cardinals offense. It's a little bit of a dud lately. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Homeowners, I know a lot of you are worried about one thing when it comes to selling, and that's leaving money on the table. Hey, this is Kevin Wheeler. I'm here with Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. So, Gloria, how do you help sellers make sure that they get top dollar?
The reality is, most homes don't sell for what they should. I see it happen all the time. They either price it wrong or they don't create enough demand. But with over 2,400 buyers in my Buyers in Waiting database and my exclusive pricing strategy, I'm able to offer my seller a 100% market value guarantee. And if I can't get you 100% of your home's market value, I'll pay you the difference. So you don't have to wonder if you left money on the table. You can sell with confidence, knowing you maximize your sale.
Make sure you get every dollar for your home. That's why you call St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession.
There's one box that you'd run back into your burning house to grab. It's the box filled with your videotapes, film reels, and photos. Those sentimental, meaningful, irreplaceable moments. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago so that we could help families save their memories from being destroyed by floods or fires.
And it's not just natural disasters, Adam. Every day, videotapes and photos are slowly fading away, decaying, neglected in closets and attics.
Digitizing your old media stops fading, and preserving those recordings means they are safe forever. It's like magic, converting your shoebox of memories into digital files, ready to watch and share.
It's the only way to ensure your legacy is safe for generations. That's why over 1 million families have already trusted Legacy Box. Legacy Box is simple and easy, it works, and is safe. We'd love to preserve your family's collection. Don't wait. The risk is too great.
Visit legacybox.com/radio to save 50%. That's legacybox.com/radio to get started and save. Legacybox.com/radio.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, June 16th at the All Financial Group office. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 10 o'clock. We have partly cloudy skies. It's 77 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. The Fed's favorite gauge of the economy shows inflation now rising at its highest rate in 3 years. ABC's Jim Ryan says that may quell hopes for an interest rate reduction anytime soon.
The Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index surged last month at an annual rate of 3.8% from April of last year. Not as bad as economists were expecting, but the highest rate since May of 2023. This first PCE report since Kevin Warsh was sworn in as chair of the Federal Reserve found soaring fuel prices a major driver of inflation.
Sports tourism is definitely an economic generator for the city. That's what O'Fallon, Illinois Mayor Eric Van Hook says as city officials released the number of visitors who attended games last year at the O'Fallon Family Sports Park. More than 1.6 million visitors. Now O'Fallon leaders are considering building a $20 million field house that could host sporting events year-round. Van Hook tells KSDK they're thinking 8 basketball courts, 16 volleyball courts. The city's determining the scope of the project. They want to ensure it can be funded without raising taxes. From O'Fallon, Illinois to O'Fallon, Missouri, if you see a large police and first responder presence between 12:30 and 4 today near the Fort Zumwalt School District Professional Development Center, it is just a drill. O'Fallon police say more than 250 police, fire, EMS, and other emergency response personnel will be participating in a full-scale emergency response exercise. Yes, there is such a thing as pickleball TV, and the St. Louis Shock just signed a multi-year rights deal with them. It's an historic deal as they're the first Major League Pickleball franchise to secure a network media deal. It runs through 2028. The Shock had a great year in 2025 as Major League Pickleball regular season champs and MLP Cup champs. From the KMOX business desk, millions of young adults may face scarce jobs, some of which can be blamed on AI.
The unemployment rate for recent college graduates is 5.6%, notably higher than the overall unemployment rate of 4.2%, says New York Federal Reserve data. 4 years ago, the rates for the two groups were nearly identical. This as some tech leaders warn that artificial intelligence could eliminate many low-level positions often taken by recent grads. Anthropic's chief, whose company operates an AI model called Claude, said last year the technology could cut U.S. entry-level jobs in half by 2030.
This afternoon will be warm with sunshine and some clouds, high 86. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight, though 68. More clouds than sun and not as warm tomorrow with a chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 81. For Saturday, intervals of clouds and sun. There could be a shower or thunderstorm in the area, the high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's partly cloudy, 77 degrees now in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe.
There's a swing, and the ball is lined to left field, and on the run, the ball goes over Torres' glove, and it goes to the wall. A quick throw in will hold Mitchell to a leadoff double, the first hit of the day for the Brewers, and the tying run is in scoring position.
And we welcome in Matt Pauley. Sports Open Line, Rush Hour Sports, Cardinals pre- and post-game. Matt, it's been a bit frustrating for the Cardinals offense. We were just saying before you joined us that if your pitching keeps the opponents to 2 runs, you should be able to win that game.
You should, absolutely. And they have not. They're in one of those periods right now where the runs, unfortunately, just are not coming. And they have been inconsistent offensively here for a couple weeks. I really go back to the first time they played the Brewers and everything that's happened since then. But the struggles are very much pronounced here when you look at the end of the Kansas City series, the Pittsburgh series, scoring 2 runs or less in 2 of those games. Just what happened in this series, scoring 2 total runs over the course of 3 games. You're just not going to win many games in that situation. So yesterday was a tough loss, and it was a one that I'm sure everybody associated with the Cardinals feels like they should have won, but it didn't happen. You have those over the course of 162, and good teams go through adversity, good teams go through funks, good teams go through slumps, but they're able to end them pretty quickly. We're going to find out if this is a good Cardinals team or not by how long this keeps going on and how quickly they're able to get out of it.
Yeah, so much to get to, but Matt, I don't want to let this go by. I got a notification on my phone yesterday from the MLB app that said, hey, there's a no-hitter going on, and that's usually for another team. When I saw it was the Cardinals, I ran to the television, and boom, it went away. It was just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was, and so we were sitting in the sports office. It was Kevin Wheeler and who else? I guess Matt Pajeski was in there as well, and we were all watching it. And it went away, and we all kind of screamed about it. And Michael Calhoun came in from the newsroom and said, "Well, I knew the no-hitter was over because we heard you guys screaming in the room." So, it was a really good performance from Dustin May. That was not an especially good pitch. It was a play that was going to be really tough to make out in left field. If Brian Torres would have gotten a little bit of a different route on it, maybe he makes that play. But even if he would have gotten the perfect route, it was still going to be a very challenging play. So Dustin May was really, really good. He deserved so much better yesterday, pitched so well. Unfortunately, it's baseball, and those things do happen.
Yeah, that's the truth, right? Well, a little luck for us. We get a breather today. The Cardinals fly back home. They get some rest. And then the Baby Bears come to town as the rivalry gets started up. I would anticipate that this is a team that hopefully will be hyped to come before a larger than typical attendance that they've normally seen here this year.
Yeah, I think I would expect it to be a pretty full Busch Stadium over the course of the 3 games. And they've got some other stuff going on. They've got the post-game concert on Friday night. That's why the game is going to be starting at 6:15 and not 7:15. But this is and both teams come in kind of struggling. Cubs did win yesterday to end a 10-game losing streak. Cubs still play tonight. They are in Pittsburgh, so they'll play this evening, and then they will make their way to St. Louis from Pittsburgh. But this does seem like a big series for sure, and I think folks are going to feel a lot better about the Cardinals if they can find a way to maybe go win 2 out of 3, or who knows, maybe even sweep, but just at least win this series against the Cubs. I think that would quell a lot of the fears that are going on right now across the Cardinal fan base.
Yeah, because it definitely feels like a skid, and you're wondering, well, wait a minute, how long is this going to go on? Because as we mentioned, yes, you're losing games, but you're losing games when your pitching is giving you a really good chance to win. You're losing games when you're getting blown out, but you're just not scoring. And I think there is a difference. Maybe I'm like splitting hairs here, but there does feel to be a difference if you're losing games for whatever reason, but you're still scoring runs. The Cardinals can't get runners in when they have runners in scoring position. I mean, they're just really flat all around now. So how do you get an offense going? To me, that's why it feels more dismal. It's not just the record, it's the fact that they can't score.
Yeah, and yesterday's a great example of that because they out-hit the Brewers yesterday 8-3, but they go 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. If they would have gone 1 for 10, which is still terrible, if they would have gone 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position yesterday, they likely win that game. Instead, they end up going 0 for 10. And I think this is going to sound a little bit cliche, but really what it is I think every individual has to continue to come to work every single day and work on getting better. This isn't something where you're going to magically make the entire group better. But if everybody is focused on themselves, if everybody is focused on getting better individually, then everybody else is going to come along for the ride. Now, the bottom line on the Cardinals offense is they haven't gotten anything out of outside the top 4 spots in the order. And right now, J.J. Weatherholt is kind of struggling. So really, it's 3 guys who are doing much of anything for you. Ivan Herrera, Alec Burleson, Jordan Walker. Brian Torres is giving you a little bit of a lift, but we're talking 4 or 5 games from a guy who was just called up from Memphis. So you don't know how long that's going to continue to go on. They need to find some other guys who can hit a little bit. And you would like to see Mason Wynn do more than what he's doing right now. Lars Nootbaar is going to be back with his team sooner than later at some point in the next week. He's not going to be around this weekend. I would not be shocked to see him maybe as early as Monday. So that potentially creates a little bit more depth to your lineup, but it's not magic. It's teams go through slumps. A lot of times when you're not scoring runs, it's because there's a lot of guys on the team who are not performing at any given moment, and it's all about keeping your head down and continuing to do your work every day.
Yeah, so Nootbaar will not be here for the Cubs card series. We may see him at the beginning of next week. That was going to be my question. When are we going to see Lars Nootbaar? And what will it look like with him now playing in the outfield? Will we see somebody go down, or are we going to see a platoon situation that's going to take place for the Cardinals?
Yeah, somebody's going to have to go down just to give them a roster spot, and there's multiple players on the roster here at the moment who could be candidates for that. You're not seeing Cesar Prieto play much. Thomas Sajasti's kind of the backup shortstop, so his job is probably safe. But that's not of major consequence. What is that the other part of your question is, what is it going to look like? And I think right away we'll see him inserted into the lineup playing left field most days. I would think they're still going to take it a little bit slow where he's not playing every single day. So that's where you have a Brian Torres. Victor Scott II, I think, will remain in center field. Once Nathan Church gets healthy, then that really is where there's a rub because Church had outperformed Scott so far this year offensively. If Church was healthy, he's probably getting more opportunities in center field. You can play Brian Torres in center field in a pinch, and if they're just continuing to struggle offensively, maybe they look to that. But I think this is one of those situations where he's going to come back and it's going to kind of all fit in and work out organically.
Yeah, since so many players are struggling right now, does that make Nootbaar's return a little bit easier to piece him in as opposed to earlier in the season when so many players were playing well and we were talking, man, who do you take out?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have a hard time finding a spot for him in the lineup. I mean, Victor Scott at no point this year has been really good offensively. So there was always a path for Nootbaar to come back, and there was always the expectation that he was going to be, I think the Scott situation has put one where I don't think there's ever been any type of wall to Nootbaar coming back and immediately getting playing time.
Hate to bring a wet blanket to this conversation, Matt, but saw yesterday that the Major League Baseball Players Association made their proposal as it relates to the contract negotiations of what was offered by the ownership. Are we headed towards a strike? It looks like these two folks are distance from each other, but at least they're starting to joust with each other and put proposals on the table.
Yeah, so this first one from the players, it's going to be as the single most extreme version of a proposal that they could possibly have, and then Major League Baseball is going to respond likely today, so they'll put their first proposal on the table, and it's going to be equally as extreme to the other side. And then that is your starting point. And they intentionally get as far out there as possible, because the further out you are, if each side, walks in the same distance, then you hope that, you're able to maybe be a little bit further on your side of the line. It's all part of negotiations. It is really, really early in this. What we saw yesterday, most of that stuff is not going to come anywhere near actually happening. Same thing with what the owners proposed today. At least there is some talking. It's going to get ugly at some point. It is not ugly yet. There absolutely is going to be a lockout when December 1st hits and this current CBA expires. And I think there's about a 0.5% chance of them working out a CBA before December 1st. I would be beyond shocked if that happened. So the owners absolutely will lock out the players come December 1st. And then that's when things are really going to start. And that's where there's going to be pressure for there to be more conversations. Reportedly, the proposal that the owners are going to have today is going to include a hard salary cap. That is not something that the players are ever going to go for. So that's a non-starter. There's a bunch of stuff that the players introduced yesterday that I'm sure from an ownership standpoint is a complete non-starter as well. So, I think as long as the two sides are talking a little bit and the animosity hasn't ratcheted up yet, and the season hasn't even ended, there's probably more good than bad, but there's just not a whole lot of meaning to anything that's going to happen here for a while.
Hey, Matt, before we let you go, I do have one more question about the kerfuffle with the Brewers and Ollie Marmol and Uribe and, the triple crotch chop that went down. And so Ollie Marmol said to the media yesterday, quote, "I've got no issues telling you the full story, but I just think, like anything these days, it gets blown up. This is like an everyday occurrence. We felt like the Brewers were being pretty demonstrative about relaying signs from the dugout." He said that's when he mouthed and gestured to the Brewers dugout. "I looked over and I said, hey, you got to do it. Be smart. You're going to get somebody hurt." And I guess my question is, what does he mean by that? Like, you're going to be smart, you're going to get somebody hurt?
Yeah, so if you're over the top, and his accusation of the Brewers is that they were being over the top and how they were essentially relaying things from the dugout, which is something, by the way, the Brewers say that they were not doing, just to be fair and to present all sides of the story. But his belief is that the Brewers, and I tend to believe what Ollie is saying in this situation, when you are being over the top, that's the point where all of a sudden guys are going to get thrown at in situations like that. So just there's no rule against stealing signs. There's no rules about trying to decipher what the other team is doing, but there is kind of that unwritten rule in the way that you go about things, that you don't do it over the top. And that's essentially what he was saying to them, like, just settle down a little bit. And this happens a lot. A.J. Pierzynski, a former Cardinal catcher, now does a lot of national TV stuff with Fox, and he does the Foul Territory show every day. He was talking about this yesterday on Foul Territory, and he was really complimenting both the Cardinals and the Brewers on how they handled this, saying that if he was in the Cardinal dugout, that's exactly what he would be saying over to the Brewers side of things. That you gotta be a little bit less egregious in the way that you're doing this. And the Brewers handling it up until the crotch chop, I guess you could say. Up until that point, they handled it in a way as well. And I do think it's interesting because it happened in the Liberatore game. And Matthew Liberatore gave up a bunch of runs in that first inning, and then he doesn't give up another run the rest of the day. Was there something going on in that first inning that the Brewers stopped doing? Because essentially the story is they stopped doing whatever they were doing that was kind of over the top, and what happened in the game would sort of go along with that. So there's a lot. if you don't get the triple crotch chop, we're not talking about this. We have no idea, no clue that this even happened. And I do think some version of this is happening in a lot more games than people are. There's the group of people that say, oh, well, Oliver Marmol's not a tough guy because the Cardinals didn't throw at the Brewers and, they didn't come out at them and yada, 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 yada. Well, again, up until Abner Uribe's celebration, this was something that was more standard to a baseball game than I think people realize.
Good stuff. That's Matt Pauley. You'll hear him on Rush Hour Sports. And since the Cardinals are off, we'll have Sports Open Line tonight.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
You bet.
Yo, Paulie, your sister's with me. I'll call you back later. See ya.
And when we come back, question of the week. I realized I have a few neuroses. I'm getting a little neurotic as the days go on. But sometimes I feel like I don't have enough. So we've got our question of the week. We'll talk to Michael about it.
I will ease your fears that you're alone in this problem.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. And I am super excited to tell you about the Only Facial because, like I said, I'm in my 40s. And I think one thing COVID really did, first of all, it was the past 3-5 years have been, I think, stressful for a lot of people. But when I would wear the mask, I started to notice the crow's feet around my eyes. Unfortunately, it made me realize that. And, you do wear your stress on your face. And I'm outside a lot with running. And all of those elements are hard on my face. And so when I started going to the Only Facial, I felt so excited to know that I was going to, these experts who have all of their processes, whether it's dermaplaning, microdermabrasion, moisturizing, exfoliating, to make sure that my skin can be healthy, can look its best, not only when I step out from the facial, but also continues to get better week over week and month after month. I think I'm going for, is it my third or fourth time? I think it's my fourth time. Really excited about going next month. I see progress every time with dark spots getting lighter and wrinkles and fine lines just softening up. TheOnlyFacial.com, $125. That includes gratuity. No stress. U-City, De Pere, Clayton, Sunset Hills, Frontenac, Creve Coeur, Streets of St. Charles, and Edwardsville. TheOnlyFacial.com.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
Trust is earned. That's why I've stuck with Straight Talk. Same price since 2009 on Verizon's 5G network. Cause shoot, anyone can make a promise. Keeping it for years, that means something.
Now plans starting at $25 a month with 4 lines. Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Same price claim applies only to the base monthly price of our $45 plan from October 2009 to present.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business? Ah.
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more. So you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Saving money on your outdoor needs at Menards. Liquid Fence Deer and Rabbit Repellent prevents animals from damaging your garden. It provides long-lasting, rain-resistant protection and can be used on flowers, shrubs, trees, and more. Save big on Liquid Fence Deer and Rabbit Repellent. On sale now through May 31st. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening this week.
Save big money at Menards.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm John Morgan. There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Reason number 3, First, all lawyers are not the same. If my family had an injury case and I couldn't hire us, there are only about 3 to 4% of the lawyers out there that I would hire. And here's why. Most of them rarely, if ever, go to trial. They just take the last best offer. Hell, you can do that yourself. Do this. If you're looking for a lawyer, Google Morgan & Morgan results and see what comes up. It may shock you. Then Google the firm you're thinking of hiring and do the same. That may shock you as well. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. We won a lot. $30 billion and counting. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com. Who would I hire? I'd hire us.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Still here, still trusted. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Now, the question of the week with Chris and Amy. And remember, you can always vote in the X poll at Chris Amy KMOX.
At Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter. I know it's officially X, but it's Twitter. So that you can join our question of the week, which is, what is your most neurotic behavior? Because I brought up the fact that before I had TSA pre-check and before Kristi Noem's, final action, I think, is to abolish the practice of taking off your shoes at the airport. So back when you had to do that, I would either bring a pair of old socks or buy, a pack of cheap socks. And I would get to the point where I had to take my shoes off. I'd put on the cheap socks, walk through the scanner, take off the socks and throw them away. I think that's perfectly normal because that is so gross, the airport floor.
Right.
And you're walking, and you expect me, oh my gosh, and people walk barefoot. Oh,
yeah, right.
But even with your socks, you're going to walk across the airport floor. Security with your socks and put your socks back in your shoes? Absolutely not. And I also do that on the occasion that I go bowling, which is not frequent.
No.
But I will bring my own socks.
I'm with you on that.
And then throw the socks away.
Yeah, you got to do that. But so help me out. Now, those same shoes that you took off, you put on the conveyor belt, you had the socks because the floor was dirty.
Yeah.
When you get home to your house, do you walk around your house in your shoes?
Well, and this is why I don't have enough neuroses. Because I do wear my shoes in the house, and I'm starting to get grossed out by it. And I actually started thinking about it, one, because we were having this conversation about the socks.
Right.
And I don't walk barefoot in hotel rooms.
Okay.
I don't even wear socks in hotel rooms. I have to wear, like, flip-flops or Birkenstocks, some kind of shoe or slide. I never walk barefoot in hotel rooms. And I'm thinking, you're right. I walk in the bathroom in here. You walk downtown. You go to the hockey game.
Busch Stadium.
And then I walk into my house. And I have wood floors, but I do have an area rug. And then I step on the area rug. And then later in the day, I'm going to do some stretches, sit down on the floor. And now I'm sitting and putting my hands where my dirty shoes have been.
Well,
that is a huge fault on my part.
I don't think so. I've got one, and it's well documented on the radio here with you, as I am a towel freak when it comes to washing myself. So wash my hair, my body, get out. That towel quickly becomes the floor towel.
Yes, it always becomes the floor towel.
It becomes the floor towel for the next shower.
Yeah.
And then this process repeats itself. But Amy, I have a fairly new washer and dryer that I think I purchased 3 years ago. And because of my ridiculousness with constantly washing the sheets, constantly washing the towels, I think I'm going to burn my washing and dryer out like in no time. In fact, this morning when I went in there to change it, because, I got a bunch of towels I move around, I do 2 showers a day. So I'm going through 2 fresh towels a day.
It's a lot of towels.
Yeah, but I don't want that dead skin all over me. I don't want the nastiness of what's going to, I want to get it all washed off, and I could smell a little burn smell coming from my washer and dryer, and I'm like, maybe I'm burning this sucker out.
You can burn out the motor. Matt, are you a one shower?
I'm a 2 shower.
2 shower.
2 shower, 2 towels a day. Yeah.
But the towel touches your bottom.
But it's not the same. I don't get a fresh towel every time.
You don't?
No.
So why not?
Because I own 2 towels and I don't want to do
Wait,
laundry
you only
every
own
day.
2 towels?
Yeah.
Now let me ask you. You're a big guy like me, tall guy. Do you have a big towel, like a beach-looking towel almost? Yeah.
They're called the bath towels. Because I didn't even know this until you go to Target and you realize there are regular tiny towels and then big beach
Dudes
towels.
need a bath sheet is what mine's called.
That's
and
what it is.
It's huge, and I love it because, I don't want to be barely covering myself. Now, I don't mind if a gal in the house has got a small little towel, but...
You give her the hand towel.
Yeah.
The washcloth. You guys are rude.
No,
That's
we're not.
Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. When we come back, we're going to bring back some decorum on this show. Major Garrett, CBS Chief Washington correspondent, joins us next.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This is Stories from the Pitch, brought to you by the first ever Infinity QX65 and by Lowe's. Give your yard its own moment with new limited time deals from Lowe's.
For decades, FIFA had promised Africa a World Cup. Sepp Blatter finally delivered. South Africa, 16 years out of apartheid, hosted the tournament. And the soundtrack, whether broadcasters liked it or not, was the Vuvuzela, that long plastic horn, droning like a swarm of bees through every match. Some players hated it. Networks tried to filter it out. Mostly, they failed. Sipiwe Chabalala scored the opening goal of the tournament for the host nation against Mexico. A screamer into the top corner. The whole country on its feet. South Africa wouldn't make it out of the group. Ghana would carry African hopes deepest. But the cup had finally come home, and home was loud.
Stay tuned to this Odyssey station for more Stories from the Pitch.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
We are at the end of May, and it's only 78 degrees in St. Louis. We'll probably get close to a high of 85 as it's partly cloudy. A chance of storms tomorrow, but a high of only 81.
Get ready for laughs and adventure with Gilbert and Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance. Join Opera Theater of St. Louis from May 23rd to June 27th for a high-energy tale of romance, comedy, and clever mischief. Follow a young pirate as he leaves the ship behind for crazy hijinks on land as he searches for true love. It's a wild ride for the whole family, full of fun, duty, and destiny. Tickets start at just $25. For tickets and more information, visit experienceopera.org.
Taking care of your health shouldn't feel complicated. That's why we created NeoVitan to make nutrition easy. Our doctor-formulated vitamins are designed for real life and delivered straight to your door with our monthly subscription. No guesswork, no running out. Just clean, high-quality supplements manufactured in the USA using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Subscribe today at neovitan.com and take one simple step toward better daily nutrition. Visit neovitan.com and start making nutrition easy today.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy, weight gain, or issues in the bedroom? Well, Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, but they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. So get in, get answers, and get back to the top of your game with Game Day Men's Health. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX, and of course mine for a lot longer than that. And look, it's fantastic fun. You get to play along regardless of the sport, baseball, basketball, hockey. Once we get back to football season, you play along as you go and have a little bit more of that entertainment time. Well, this is your reminder that during the NBA playoffs, you want to be checking in with the FanDuel Sportsbook app every single day, because every single day during the NBA playoffs, FanDuel is serving up a happy hour. So we're talking about special drops that you don't want to miss, from things like profit boosts to bonus bets and a whole lot more than that. And then you check for a new reward every single day of the NBA playoffs, and I have been taking advantage of that, so you don't miss your shot to get a little extra out of the action. So just go to FanDuel.com/Missouri to get yourself started. And remember that you have to be 21 or older and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Rewards are non-withdrawable, and restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX. It's Major News with Major Garrett, our weekly conversation with CBS's chief Washington correspondent.
It is Thursday, so we welcome in Major Garrett, CBS Chief Washington correspondent, host of The Takeout on CBS News 24/7 and America Decides. And Major joins me alongside Michael Kelly because, Major, as you know, Chris Ranji is in Washington, D.C. right now.
Yeah. We're going to go to a baseball game together Saturday.
Oh,
that is so
bring your
fun.
wallet.
I'm pretty jealous. I'm not going to lie. Major's my most famous friend, and I love telling people I know him, and I'm pretty upset that Ranj gets to go to a baseball game with him.
Well, he'll be.
Amy, all I can say is you got to aim higher. You got to aim higher.
What is it, a Padres game going on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know you're Mr. Padre.
Padres are coming to town. They'll be here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I will be at all three games. So
good for you.
That's awesome. Well, Major, I know we got more serious stuff to get into, but
yes, we do. There's always more serious stuff.
There's always more serious stuff. This isn't necessarily that, because Ranj is interested while he's in D.C. in seeing some of the work that's being done around the White House, including he wants to see what he can see as far as the demolition of the East Wing, but then also the UFC fighting ring that is being constructed.
He'll be able to see that much better than the ballroom.
And then also the reflecting pool, still a fence around that?
I don't know. I haven't been down to the reflecting pool. He might be able to get a good look at that. I have not physically been down there. I've seen the various pictures of the president driving his motorcade over it and all that other stuff. I'm not sure what is or isn't visible there.
All right. Well, as we get into, let's start with what's going on with Iran, because the U.S. has conducted more defensive strikes against Iran amid ongoing negotiations. And where does it all stand right now, Major?
Well, about an hour ago, there was one report in Axios from a very good reporter who's very plugged in to the region, Barak Ravid, saying that this memorandum of understanding, the deal, quote unquote, has been agreed to. All the language has been teased out. It is sufficiently acceptable to the Iranians and the administration, all but for President Trump. Everyone else has agreed. And according to Barak Ravid's reporting, the president wants a day or two, maybe longer, to think about it. And the contours of that, as described in Axios, are as follows. The Strait of Hormuz would reopen. There would be no U.S. naval blockade, and the Iranians would not interfere with anyone moving a vessel through the Strait of Hormuz, would not apply a tax or a toll of any kind. And then it would state, the Iranian regime, that it would not seek to possess a nuclear weapon. How much you believe that or not is entirely up to you, but history would suggest we should be skeptical about that at minimum. But there would be that in the agreement. There would be a stated declaration from Iran that it's not going to pursue a nuclear weapon. However, all the things that would help them get there, centrifuges, highly enriched uranium, buried facilities to carry out such research, all to be negotiated over the next 2 or 3 months. So if this deal is acceptable to the president, and he so says, then all that would really happen is the Strait of Hormuz would reopen. And we should remind ourselves it was open before the war started.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's a fact.
That's true.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it became an irritant only after the war started. It was not an irritant before the war started. What was the irritant? Iran's pursuit of nuclear weapons. And this deal, again, as described by one reporter for one outlet, but a very dialed-in one, whose sourcing, he says, are 2 senior U.S. officials and 1 senior diplomat directly involved in the talks from the region, would leave all that nuclear matter, and I mean that specifically, the matter meaning highly enriched uranium, and all the facilities and everything else for subsequent negotiations. Whether or not the president accepts that, whether or not his political party would accept that, whether or not the Israeli government would accept that, stand by.
What is Marco Rubio's role in this right now as far as how much the president is relying on him or leaning on him?
So in the cabinet meeting yesterday, Marco Rubio, who is the Secretary of State but also the National Security Advisor, and just as a quick reminder, only one other person in American history has held both those jobs for any length of time, Henry Kissinger. And why that matters is when you're the Secretary of State, you live and work within the entire bureaucracy of the State Department. When you're the National Security Advisor, you are the central person in the White House coordinating all information, not just from the State Department, but the Pentagon, the CIA, NSA, all the other branches of the national security apparatus. So Marco Rubio is the choke point of everything in the White House, but he's also the chief diplomat. So he has two roles that are very important. But he knows better than anyone that only President Trump will define what is acceptable. Marco Rubio will not define what is acceptable. And if the president wants to cut this deal, he will, and it'll be up to Rubio to explain it and sell it. But he's not going to decide if this deal is acceptable. Only the president will. And the president said yesterday, and I think this was more bluff than truth, but he was saying it sort of for public consumption in Iran, less in America. I don't care about the midterms. The midterms are not pressurizing me to cut a deal. That's what he said publicly. But every Republican on Capitol Hill knows that's not true. That the Republican Party generally and the White House specifically do feel pressurized because the war is net unpopular. Gas prices are high and remain high. Inflation is becoming a drag on the economy. And all of this is creating is intensifying rather an already difficult political environment for Republicans heading to the midterms. The president can say he doesn't care about it, but in point of fact, he does. And if he accepts a deal that leaves the nuclear question unresolved in Iran, that will be confirmation of that.
To that political point you just made, though, Major, the president kind of is showing through his actions he doesn't care because he's played heavily in some of these GOP primaries that many people think sets it up easier for the Democrats, particularly in Texas. What has always been the great hope seems as though it might be in play based on the actions of Donald Trump.
Yeah, so the Trump calculus in Texas is typically against the conventional wisdom. And let's be honest and give the president his due. He has been a non-conventional political thinker on the American stage for going on a decade, and he's won far more than he's lost in general elections and in primaries. And his calculus is, in the end, Texas Republicans and Texas voters writ large are not going to care as much about Ken Paxton's, let's say, record of compromised ethics and corrupt practices. Those are words used by fellow Republicans of Ken Paxton, not me, will not be nearly as important as their ability to caricature and describe James Tallarico, the state senator who's the Democratic nominee, as way, way, way out of balance with Texas political values and cultural values. And he believes that Paxton's going to be a winner. He may cost more. Yes, he agrees with it. But Trump's point of view on the midterms is there'll be plenty of money for Republicans to spend. If it costs more in Texas, fine, we'll spend the money. Because I'd rather have Ken Paxton, a super aggressive, super loyal Trumpist, than a usually loyal John Cornyn. So Trump has heard all of the doubting Thomases within the Republican Party. Oh, don't go for Paxton. He's a surefire loser. Trump doesn't believe that. And he believes that many of these races will be fought very aggressively, very sort of viscerally on crime, immigration, cultural values, and that will carry a sufficient number of Republicans to victory. That's what Trump fundamentally believes. That's his gut instinct. There's plenty of polling data that suggests otherwise, but that's what the president is. And what will be interesting to see as the midterms grow closer, how much does Ken Paxton want Trump in Texas? And where does he want him in Texas? How much do other Republicans? Does Michael Whatley want him in North Carolina? So does Don Husted want him in Ohio? The value of the president's political name and branding will be given an acid test starting in September. But right now he's playing in lots of primaries, valuing loyalty above electability, and he's creating the set of candidates that he wants. And he will own 100% their success or their failure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, but he also doesn't seem to be making things easier for them in their actual governing job. We're starting to see some differences between, particularly in the United States Senate and the president, with the Republicans over the slush fund for weaponization, the ballroom, etc. Is this just a phantom fight, or is this real?
That's real. Look, last week, one of the president's top legislative priorities and something that Republicans have no problem voting for, more immigration funding, immigration control funding, more future funding for immigration customs and enforcement and the Border Patrol, all that was teed up. It was all ready to go. So it's a big issue. They care about it. It still polls relatively well, certainly by comparison to almost every other issue, and it was all ready to go. And then the president and the Justice Department announced this proposed weaponization fund. And Republicans in the House and the Senate, but particularly the Senate, look at the underlying details and say, wait a minute, this thing is wide open. It's open-ended. It's not like every other compensation fund. It's clearly driven by the president's desire to bail out and send money to his perceived political loyalists. It's not about correcting an injustice. It is only about, from their point of view, rewarding people loyal to the president with taxpayer dollars, and they recoil from it. And they don't recoil from it in a traditional Republican sense, which is, well, we'll have to take a look at this, and maybe there's some way we can think about this in a different way, being very gentle in their language. No, many of them were like, no, this is not happening, full stop. And that legislation that was teed up right across the finish line, super big issue, super important, polls well, completely fell apart. Will it be resurrected? Yes, but only after some pretty significant changes are made. And even Wisconsin Republican Ron Johnson, a Trump loyalist, on my program earlier this week, said, look, I'm generally supportive of a fund that can handle Biden-era weaponization. He was in on it. He's like, we don't have to appropriate this funds. It can go through a traditional means, but there has to be guardrails. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, we can't give it to anyone who beat up a cop. Okay, sounds pretty rational. Sounds like pretty defensible political position. So even he was willing to put some specific guardrails up. And Ron Johnson's going to be joined by many other Republicans who are not sympathetic to this fund. The White House has said we're not changing it at all. And if that's their position, then all their legislative agenda in the Senate basically grinds to a halt.
Major, last week we talked about the disastrous DNC autopsy, and obviously the end of the Biden administration was not propitious for the future of the Democratic Party, at least immediately. But it was revisited actually on CBS News Sunday morning with Jill Biden saying, that she was frightened by Joe Biden's disastrous debate performance. She had never seen it before or since, and that seems to contradict a lot of people close to the former president.
Yeah, she thought, to quote her, Dr. Joe Biden, did he have a stroke? I thought he had a stroke. Wow. Of course, that's not what she said in the immediate aftermath of the debate. And this whole aura of enablers, familial and political, around President Biden will now be revisited. And look, whatever the climate is for Republicans and President Trump, Democrats and those who are seeking to persuade voters who are up for grabs are going to have to come to a very big reckoning on this entire Biden-era question. I'm not sure it is going to be the acid test for anyone seeking the nomination in 2028, but it wouldn't surprise me if it is, meaning if you're seeking the Democratic nomination in 2028 and you were close to this situation at any level, it feels to me as if Democratic caucus and primary voters are going to demand an answer. What did you know? Why didn't you tell us the truth? And how can we be certain you're reliable going forward? I'm not sure it's going to be the ultimate acid test, but it's going to be part of the conversation because Democrats have got to come to grips with what happened internally within their party, within the presidency itself, how Biden and all those around him told the Democratic Party a story, made him the nominee. Then that story did not hold up to one debate's worth of scrutiny, not even 15 minutes of one debate scrutiny, and it all fell apart. There has to be a reckoning for that. There has to be answers. There has to be some way of saying to those who were responsible, you are going to be penalized. And I don't know what that penalty is going to be, politically or otherwise. That's for Democrats to figure out. But the Jill Biden interview and everything that's come around with it, plus the autopsy, is a fresh reminder that this party not only has structural problems, but it has trust problems. Not just with the country writ large, but with its own base of supporters. And that's got to be dealt with.
He is Major Garrett, CBS Chief Washington correspondent, host of The Takeout on CBS News 24/7 and America Decides. And Major, have fun with Chris Ranji at the baseball game. Don't let him get you into too much trouble.
If we cannot have fun, there's a problem with both.
Well, with Ranji, you never know. You never know. So just, be on your guard.
We'll have a full report next Thursday.
I am counting on it. You're the best, Major.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye. That is Major Garrett, buddy of me and Chris Ranji.
Can you imagine?
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
He's so cool. At least I get to hang out with Michael Kelly. Also very cool.
Hey, now.
It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
A cataract occurs when the natural lens in your eye becomes cloudy and hard. This affects your eyesight by darkening and blurring your vision. The only treatment for cataracts is to remove that cloudy natural lens and replace it with a new artificial intraocular lens. Cataract surgery is now one of the most common and successful surgeries. Hi, this is Charlie Brennan here in St. Louis. For cataracts, I recommend you call the doctor's doctors. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. 314-966-5000. Ask these doctors about the light adjustable lens, allowing you to customize your vision after cataract surgery. The doctor's doctors, where the Brennan family has received its eye care for 30 years. 314-966-5000 in St. Charles, Sullivan, and 270 in Manchester. And at youridoc.com.
Tarps Off Mania is sweeping Cardinals Nation. But before you take your shirt off, make sure it's a shirt worth taking off. Friday before Cards and Cubs at Busch, the DGS broadcasts live from patios starting at 3 p.m., counting down to first pitch. And Rally House will be on site with gear so good, you might actually want to keep your shirt on. It's your city. It's your house. It's Rally House with DGS live from patios Friday, May 29th.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy. Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support. All in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Spring is here in St. Louis, and if you're thinking about selling, now's the time. But timing is only part of it. This is Debbie Monterey, and I'm with Gloria Liu, your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria, why is it still so important to choose the right realtor?
Simple. Not every home is selling fast or for top dollar. Here's the difference. I already have the buyers. With over 2,400 buyers in waiting, I'm not just listing your home. and matching it with demand. That's how I offer my guaranteed sale program. We sit down, agree on the price and timeline, and if your home doesn't sell, I'll buy it myself. But my goal isn't to buy your home, it's to sell it for the most money possible in the least amount of time. And that's exactly what my system does. My clients don't have to hope their home sells. I guarantee it.
If you're selling your home this spring, call the one I trust, Gloria Liu, 314-325-6888 or GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
Your 401k, 403b, and IRA, it's a future tax time bomb. I'll help you retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Let's avoid all those taxes on your IRA or 401k. Get your retirement questions answered. Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX FM 104.1. And then see your tax time bomb at checkwithgary.com.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Markscores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Well, it's a very important and somber milestone today.
Oh, my.
As surprisingly noted by the White House, they have a picture of Harambe, not our texter, but the actual Harambe. It says, today we remember a legend. On this day in history, Harambe would have celebrated another birthday.
Oh. Harambe was
an icon that became part of internet history, American culture, and an entire generation's timeline. I think this was yesterday, 16 hours ago.
Remind me, he was the ape that a child got dropped into the, or how did it go down? Was that what it was?
The child somehow got into his cage and they had to kill him.
So
the Harambe, not the kid.
Yeah, they killed the ape, right?
Yeah.
It was an ape.
Yeah, Harambe was born on May 27th yesterday, but was killed May 28th today, 10 years ago.
Well, that's one heck of a birthday present there, Harambe.
He was killed the day after his birthday?
Yeah.
Well, at least he got a final meal.
I mean, I guess he got...
Probably got a little cake.
Maybe.
A nice banana.
What does remind me of, though, this is for Matt. Matt, yesterday we may have said that because you're a redhead that you would have been in the First Order in Star Wars. You would have been on the Empire side, like General Hux.
Mm-hmm.
And Harambe, the texter, texted in and said, yes, but remember, General Hux ended up like turning on the Empire and helping out the rebels. I don't think it's because he had any love for the rebels. He just really hated Kylo Ren.
Yeah. And look at Cardinals pitcher Dustin May. He's about as red as it gets. He's a great pitcher.
And they still lost, you know?
Well, I wasn't going to look at that. Almost had a no-hitter. I was more focused on that.
Are you both Star Wars geeks?
I'm very casual. She loves it.
I'm a huge Star Wars
nerd.
nerd.
Like, you know the plot line. I don't even know the names of the people you're talking about.
I mean, I know what's canon, you know, when it comes to Star Wars. If the 501st Division is listening and you've got an extra outfit for me, I would love to walk around as a stormtrooper for a day.
Oh.
I think that'd be so fun.
I didn't know whose outfit you were talking about.
Might be Princess Leia.
Princess Leia's outfit.
Or
I remember that.
Jabba the Hutt. He was so gross, like a big booger, you know? He was so gross. But anyway, R.I.P. Harambe. Not the texter. Harambe, if you're listening, text in. Let us know you're okay. But R.I.P. to the other Harambe, the OG. He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Markscores. One more hour of the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Hey, John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage Corporation. Stewie, let's talk about refinancings, and let's just bottom line this. Everyone needs money at some point in their life.
You know what, Dave? There's so many different ways you can make money. Number one, go to a lower rate. If you're financed over the last 3 years, chances are you're paying a higher rate than what you can today. Refinance with the Bagel loan, no closing costs at all. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people are concerned not about the cash flow, but overall interest that you're paying. Go from a 30-year to a 20-year. The rates are lower on a 20-year versus a 30-year. Save hundreds of thousands of dollars. And third is the real easy way. You need cash. I need cash. Take cash out. Refinance now. Take the money you need. Keep the payment the same. It's easy. It's simple. All with no closing costs with that Bagel loan.
If you're looking to save money, get a little cash to your pocket, and do it with the right person, give Stewie a call or a text on his personal cell phone, 314-324-4440, or Google the Bagel loan, NMLS 226715.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It is 11 o'clock. We have cloudy skies in downtown St. Louis. It's 79 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey. According to a new economic report, more people are going hungry now than they were during the height of the COVID pandemic. The New York Fed survey showed more families are saying they've had to skip meals to make ends meet. A growing number of children and minorities, according to the survey, are also struggling. ABC's Rebecca Jarvis says this may not be the case for all families, highlighting what economists call the K-shaped economy.
Some of the financial pain is masked by the growing wealth in this country, which is brought on by a booming stock market and increasing home values. Those Americans who own stocks and homes, they feel richer and they're spending still, and that's propping up the economy, while millions of Americans are struggling just to afford food after years of inflation and now those rising gas prices.
Illinois residents have been hit with big increases in home and auto insurance rates in recent years. The legislature approved new reforms this week.
Drivers in the state faced car insurance rate increases of more than $1 billion following the pandemic, and homeowners saw a 50% spike in rates between 2021 and 2024. Abe Scar, director of the Illinois Public Interest Research Group, tells Total Information AM the legislation sets a new standard for insurance companies operating in the state.
The Department of Insurance will now have some basic authority to review rate filings once they come in and challenge them if they believe they are excessive.
If an insurer plans to raise a consumer's rates by 10% or more, they have to provide advance notice.
Should be helpful for consumers if they want to shop around to see if they can get a better rate when their renewal comes up.
The governor is expected to sign the legislation. Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
A 28-year-old from St. Charles is dead following a concert at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Danielle Uskowicz, a St. Charles High School secretary, died Tuesday after suffering several strokes and a brain bleed. Her family tells KSDK Uskowicz was managing constant headaches before attending the rock festival at the amphitheater 2 weekends ago, where she was kicked in the head by a crowd surfer. She went to the hospital the next day as her headaches worsened and was found to have a brain bleed and hidden blood clots in her brain. A man who admitted to plotting to attack a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna nearly 2 years ago has told an Austrian court he's sorry ahead of a verdict in his trial. Bruce Springsteen, Foo Fighters, Dave Matthews, Brittany Howard, and Joan Baez all will headline a protest festival near Washington, D.C. shortly before the midterm elections. From the KMOX business desk, St. Louis startup proposing a grain alternative to soybeans. Saluna was founded in 2023 by the creators of an oilseed startup, and they're developing grain-focused hemp to be used in renewable fuels and animal feed. CEO Matt Plummer tells the Business Journal industrial hemp is an alternative for Midwestern farmers looking for a crop that's competitive to soybeans and corn. Saluna closed on their second round of funding on Wednesday.
Sunshine and some clouds and warm this afternoon, high 86. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight and mild, low 68. Tomorrow, not quite as warm with more clouds and sun. There could be an afternoon thunderstorm in the area, the high 81. For Saturday, clouds and some sun. Again, a chance for a shower or thunderstorm, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now it's cloudy and 79 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Michael Kelly sitting in for Chris Ranji, who is on assignment in Washington, D.C., checking up on the ballroom and the fighting ring and the reflecting pool. So it's very exciting. We'll get a full report. Actually, Ranji will join us tomorrow, so that will be good. Update. Harambe has texted in. Harambe here, justice for Harambe. So Harambe, the texter, definitely wants justice for Harambe, the RIP gorilla, but good to know he's doing well.
What city was Harambe in?
Cincinnati.
The Cincinnati Zoo?
Yeah. Yep. We actually are going to talk politics here because I want to ask you about Rahm Emanuel. We played that audio a while ago, maybe a month ago now, where Rahm Emanuel had said that Democrats have lost the plot.
Yes.
Like they used to focus on education, the basics, and now it's gotten they've lost their way. However, I want to ask what you think about this texter. It says, "Hey Michael, I'm only 39, and when I was growing up, politics were boring and not being constantly covered in the news. Will we ever get back to that?"
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think it's always been covered. You had less sources growing up than we do now. I feel as though the algorithm inundates us with politics. And I think the part that I don't like about politics is because it's become a part of pop culture. I was sitting with some really competent, smart people the other day who were saying, well, what about Oprah Winfrey running for president? I'm just sitting there thinking, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why are we thinking this way?
It's the politics as entertainment industrial complex where it's a choose your own adventure and you can pick your information from your own little echo chamber online or on TV.
Yeah. And the other thing about Donald Trump, and if you remember to his first presidency, it was like this. He has a way, and I think he thrives on injecting himself into every aspect of life. The NBA playoffs are going on right now. What is Donald Trump talking about? Oh, yeah, I've been a Knicks fan my whole life, blah, blah, blah. And now he's going to become a plot line in the NBA playoffs. I think it's unique to him. It wasn't like this when President Biden was president. We didn't have the president involved in everything, but I think for the near future, Donald Trump's going to be involved in every aspect of our lives.
I feel like since 2016, the president has been part of our daily conversation. I don't mean on this show. I just mean
in
life, because you had Trump 1.0 and then Biden. There was such, a response that the MAGA movement was still strong, and then Biden had his health issues, right? So I feel like we did talk about
Trump
Biden
never
a lot.
really went away.
Never went away, and then Trump is back, and he loves to suck all the oxygen out of the room. Like, he loves the spotlight, and that's not necessarily where I was going with this, but why I said, Trump would fiddle while the country burns as long as the flames would cast a light on himself. And that's what he loves. But even with Obama, obviously, like, Fox News loved talking about Obama, but I did not think about the president every day.
No.
I just went about my life.
But I do think that, one of the ideas that people have is, when Donald Trump's gone, things are going to get back to normal. No. This is the new normal. We're breaking norms on a daily basis. If you're one of those people who believes that a Democrat's going to come in and suddenly stop the nonsense that Donald Trump started, you're wrong. In fact, I've spent a lot of time talking to Democrats. They want to see a president who's going to come in and do the same thing that Donald Trump's doing to Republicans. Now, I don't think that's healthy for our democracy, but I think that's where we're headed.
So let's get to Rahm Emanuel, because we brought up with Major Garrett the disastrous autopsy for the DNC. And, I don't know what the direction of the Democratic Party is going to be. I think it's going to be that, well, let's back up a few years. After 2020 and COVID, and even locally, right, you saw very, very progressive Cori Bush, and then you see Kim Gardner. And I do feel like the Democratic Party has maybe backed off a little bit from that. Maybe that's just the people rejecting it. I don't know, from the very, very progressive side. But I want to get your thoughts on Rahm Emanuel, because, like I said, you have Rahm Emanuel, who's more moderate. Then you have, it's a mayor, but still very popular, and Zoran Mamdani, right? Very popular in New York, very, very progressive, like socialist policies, but very successful on, marketing, himself and social media. He gets it. So which way will the Democrats go? I'm going to read this quote from Rahm Emanuel again about him saying, quote, "We lost the plot. We as Democrats nationally, from Latinx to defunding the police to police organizations are all racists, to bringing a set of cultural wars to our schools. We are on the losing side of those culture wars, full stop." He continued, "You are worried about bathroom access and locker room access. Why don't you focus on classroom excellence?" he asked. "You have 50% of our kids not reading at grade level." And he said, "Well, you may say we can do both." And Rahm Emanuel says, "You've proven that you can't. We've lost the plot. The party got unanchored." What do you think about Rahm Emanuel?
Well, it won't surprise you as a traditional Democrat that he is my candidate for president in 2028. I think, and let me make the case for him. A couple of reasons. Number one, don't think that Rahm Emanuel's not a true core principled Democrat. This is a man who comes out of the Clinton administration, then later goes on into being the Trump administration, becomes the mayor of Chicago, has been chief of staff to the White House. This is a very competent, smart man. He understands political calculus. He also understands political policy. And I think he's speaking truth to where most Americans are, not necessarily Democrats. I think he's also speaking to the Democrat that we've lost, and those are white males, particularly those who work with their hands, take their shower after work than before work. And I think that's where Rahm Emanuel's focus is. Where does he wind up being? I don't know that the guy can win a Democratic primary, Amy.
Really?
Look, right now here in the St. Louis area, we had a mayor that got elected in Kara Spencer, who a lot of people thought was going to be a lot more moderate than Tashara Jones was, right? And what do we have right now? The same protest factions that started are showing back up. Kayla Reed and all these lefties are going out and pushing against Kara Spencer. Why? Because Kara Spencer's not putting money on the north side? No, she's doing that. She's not the progressive, blessed candidate. And so they're out there messing. And I think that, progressives are motivated. They're organized. They're going to be involved. And if you go and listen to Democrats talk, the messages that are resonating right now in our party are the messages coming from Bernie Sanders, the anti-establishment message, which is always interesting to me because Bernie's been there, 2 decades. And he's always the one, we're going to take down the establishment. Well, that's
he is
you,
the establishment, dude. Yeah.
AOC, same. What I like about Rahm Emanuel's the guy's smart. He'll be able to push through Democratic principles. He'll be able to get us back on track to the very core issues the Democratic Party has been fighting for. And he'll get our pound of flesh from these Republicans. He'll be able to hold them accountable. Whereas if we go the route of Mamdani or some of these lefties, I think we're going to find ourselves in the exact same position we were in this last election, not talking about kitchen table issues, but talking about 12 different genders or talking about distractions that are brought up by the Republican Party. It's just not where we need to be. Now, Mamdani, let me just finish my rant about Mamdani. Great. I like what he's up to on some instances. I find him to be whatever in others. I think he is a unique character specifically to the city of New York. The city of New York is the most powerful, most wealthy city on the planet. It has issues that none of us in daily life would be dealing with. You have the world's richest people all living in that little island that he's got there. So I get that he's pushing this idea. And while it sounds good to a lot of folks, and I hear it from people saying, oh, man, this Mamdani, this is not something that's going to sell in Minnesota. It's not something that's going to sell in Philadelphia, for that matter. We as Democrats need to find a candidate who's going to be, one, be able to motivate people, two, be able to have a clear enough head that they're not going to get distracted by some of the side ridiculous issues that has pulled the Democratic Party down in the past, and three, who's actually going to have a vision and an idea of where they want to go. I think that's what this party's been lacking for some time. Rahm Emanuel would be able to provide that to us, but I'll tell you right now, he has a snowball's chance of being our presidential nominee.
Well, but to
ain't that a
point,
shame?
Yes, because you can't have two broken parties. I would argue as a lifelong, Republican historically. Now I'm homeless, right? I mean, I'm politically homeless, but I'm a traditional conservative, that the Republican Party is super broken. And in fact, it was broken going into 2016 because a healthy Republican Party wouldn't nominate Donald Trump in the first place. So the Republican Party's broken. The Democratic Party feels broken too. A country can't survive with two broken parties. You need one of them. You need both of them to be sane, but especially one of them. And I guess what is wild to me, I'm trying to think, when Kara Spencer first came on the local scene 10, 15 years ago, as far as as an alderman, she was progressive.
Oh, yeah.
I remember people talking, like, Kara Spencer is very progressive. And 15 years ago, Rahm Emanuel's progressive, right?
Right.
So how did the party move so far left that suddenly the progressives are calling Rahm Emanuel too moderate, or the progressives in St. Louis think Kara Spencer's too moderate?
Yeah, I don't get that because as it relates to Rahm Emanuel, he's been the same person that he's been all along. This is a good core Democrat. The bigger question you asked there is what the Democratic Party stands for. I'm not sure I know.
Really?
I don't know that we have a cohesive message. We surely don't have a leader. I'm hopeful that one's going to emerge. Right now, we're the party of we're not Donald Trump, and everything Donald Trump's up to is bad. I think that's a good message, but that's not a message that's going to win an election and take this country forward. We've got to find that movement candidate like we had in Bill Clinton in 1991. And if you think back to that time, for those of us who were alive, there was something that was bubbling up. That was something that was happening. Barack Obama, same thing. They had a message. It was forward thinking. It was hopeful. It was solution based. I don't see that coming from the Democratic Party right now. It's surely not coming from Chuck Schumer. It's not coming from Hakeem Jeffries. I don't see it from many of the candidates who are saying they want to run for president, like Gavin Newsom, like J.B. Pritzker. It's one thing to be against Donald Trump, and I'm with you 1,000,000%. I love it. I want to be against Donald Trump, too. But I want to know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I want to know what our vision looks like. I want to understand the hope that they see. How are we going to tackle AI? How are we going to untangle the fact that we are now going to have trillionaires? We've deregulated this country to an extent where we're about to have about 10 companies that are running our entire economy. That is not a democratic principle. What do we stand for? And I'm hopeful that that's going to emerge. And unfortunately, when you have somebody like Donald Trump who's consuming so much of the oxygen in the room, I don't know that we're getting those battle-tested candidates. Finally, I'll tell you, I don't think that the Democratic nominees is a household name right now. I don't think it's Gavin Newsom. I don't think it's Shapiro. I don't think it's Andy Beshear. I don't think it's AOC. I don't know that it's a household name yet. Maybe that person will emerge, but if you think back to Barack Obama, he was a state senator 2 years before he became president. He was, if you think back to Bill Clinton, he was a governor from a state that didn't matter. And he wasn't even in the front runner in that race. Paul Tsongas and other folks were. He emerged later. And I think that's hopefully what will happen for the Democratic Party, although Rahm Emanuel would be the most efficient and effective presidential candidate we could have.
This is really, really good stuff. And I do want to ask you, too, because like Rahm Emanuel is really focused on education. And that's something that's close to my heart. Goodness gracious, get back to phonics. Get rid of smartphones. Take ed tech out of the rooms. Every kid doesn't need a tablet, especially when they're in kindergarten. Let's go back to phonics. Let's go back to basics. And that's something that Rahm Emanuel focuses on. But when I think of the Democratic Party, I do think of a focus on education and also a focus on labor unions.
Right.
What is the relationship with the Democratic Party with labor unions now? Because you are talking about, in the trades, how the Democratic Party is losing workers who show up to work every day.
When I first started in politics, Amy, the Democrats ran Missouri. And the reason they ran Missouri is because there were labor candidates getting elected who were pro-gun, pro-life, pro-labor Democrats. It was all of the state reps and state senators in North County. Right now, there's not room inside the Democratic Party for a pro-gun or a pro-life candidate. And I think that's unfortunate. And if you look at it right now, nationally, we're seeing candidates, the people who are identifying with the Republican Party are working class people, typically people who may not have a college education but work with their hands, take their shower after work. How are they being monopolized by the Republican Party? I mean, they're voting against their own self-interest from my perspective. And I think it's ultimately because we're not out communicating to issues of the whole. I talked a lot in the last couple of years about how the Democratic Party became the advocate of the individual rather than the group. We were out there fighting for the one transgender kid in one state that, was not being able to get in a valiant fight. But what about the guy who's trying to figure out how he's going to put gas into his tank and pay for his kids' braces? And we lost that. We lost that focus. We got focused on the issues of the individual rather than the issues of the whole. And I'm hopeful that we'll get somebody who's going to have some vision and not allow us to get distracted by a lot of the ridiculousness that has elected Donald Trump, which is people weren't voting on their fiscal policies. They were voting on the fact that, what are we out here doing fighting for 18 different genders? Or why are we out here doing this stuff? Let's focus on kitchen table issues and remember what it's all about. But the white male, particularly those with less education, have abandoned the Republican Party. And I don't see a recipe for victory nationally until the Democrats find a way to have some of those folks come back home.
That's Michael Kelly. Good stuff. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Always love to hear from you. 314-436-7900. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, June 16th at the All Financial Group office. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
There's one box that you'd run back into your burning house to grab. It's the box filled with your videotapes, film reels, and photos. Those sentimental, meaningful, irreplaceable moments. Hi, I'm Nick Mako.
And I'm Adam Baselogger. We started Legacy Box over a decade ago so that we could help families save their memories from being destroyed by floods or fires.
And it's not just natural disasters, Adam. Every day, videotapes and photos are slowly fading away, decaying, neglected in closets and attics.
Digitizing your old media stops fading, and preserving those recordings means they are safe forever. It's like magic, converting your shoebox of memories into digital files, ready to watch and share.
It's the only way to ensure your legacy is safe for generations. That's why over 1 million families have already trusted Legacy Box. Legacy Box is simple and easy, it works, and is safe. We'd love to preserve your family's collection. Don't wait, the risk is too great.
Visit legacybox.com/radio to save 50%. That's legacybox.com/radio to get started and save. Legacybox.com/radio.
Kicking back on your patio with a nice cold beverage, listening to the game, enjoying family and friends, a little barbecue, maybe the shade of the pergola. Who knows what your outdoor space looks like? Or maybe it doesn't look like much and you need some help. Call Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. They're like your summer headquarters to make sure that your outdoor space is ready for all the celebrating or relaxing that you have planned. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best for 58 years. A family-owned local company that does quality work, and that makes it a real value because when Chesterfield Fence and Deck does your project, it is going to last for years to come. And they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing if you mention me, Debbie Monterey, sent you. So you can visit them in person in the Chesterfield Valley or online right now at chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Built on a century. Focused on today. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
The texts are rolling in. Good stuff, Michael Kelly. We have a 1618 says, because I said you can't have two broken parties. And this person says you can't have two broken parties. Quote, we have one broken party and one functional cult. And I think that's true, but I do think cults never survive their leaders.
Right.
And I do think President Trump is not going to be president forever. And when he is no longer president, the party is going to crack and look a little bit different. It may still be very MAGA, but his personality is really holding it together as a cult.
I wish Hancock was here with us right now because we've seen realignments in the parties in the past, and John would know the history of it. And I think you're right. I think we're going through a realignment, particularly on the Republican side. I mean, we got a Republican president pushing tariffs. We've got, these are not typical conservative values. Well, where do those people go? Do they go vote for the Democrats by default? Do they not participate in the election? Do they just give up their conservative values altogether and just hop on board because, I'm a Republican? I just don't see that working long term for the Republican Party because I don't know what Donald Trump is.
Yeah, I think the Conservative Party, the cynical side of me says it's dead forever. Republican Party will have Trumpian elements to it. It'll have a lot of populist elements because you say, oh, Trump is a populist. No, Hawley is a populist. Trump is a Trump. And a lot of what he says falls in line with populism, but some of it doesn't because he just does what he wants to do in that moment. I don't know what the Republican Party looks like post-Trump, but I am afraid that a healthy conservative party might be gone forever.
Potentially. I mean, he seems to be running out all the conservatives to, the guy who went against Tom Massey. I mean, it was interesting to me that as a Democrat, I found myself rooting for Tom Massey. I mean, the guy's he's from in any other realm that I looked at him, I would say that guy's a whack job.
Yeah.
And here I was rooting for him because he stood for the principles that he was behind. When I was on that rant earlier, I was talking about, I try to visualize in my head all the time the guy who's driving in from St. Charles to maybe work at BJC on the construction job, etc. And there's a man who is working hard, living the American dream, right? Went out to St. Charles. Why? Because they had better schools. Why? Because he had a yard for his kids. And now he finds himself voting for Republicans who aren't fighting for the protection of his unions, who aren't, necessarily up on the issues that he should normally care about. But why is he doing that? Because the alternative that's being offered from the Democrats isn't one that resonates with him. And I keep going back to this. Democratic Party lost its message in fighting for the individual rather than the whole. And the whole doesn't necessarily all live inside the 170 corridor, or call it what you will in any city. And we as a Democratic Party have been dominated by this extreme leftist ideology coming out of the cities, and we're living the consequences of it.
That's Michael Kelly. All your texts are welcome through on 443-67900. When we come back, a little bit of a pivot here, but Hadass Gold, she's the AI correspondent for CNN. She'll join us with some tips on how to AI-proof your job and also which jobs are the most vulnerable to AI replacement. That's next on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Some shows are about sports. Some shows are about nothing. This one's kind of both.
So the show's not really a sports show per se, it's just a show. Glover here, we talk about whatever's happening, life, work, random stuff. And yeah, the Cardinals always find their way in. I'm a lifelong fan, love going to the games, love supporting the team, and love hanging out with you guys.
The Dave Glover Show at 1, and then Cardinals baseball.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit lombardohomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Ready for a fresh start? The Excel Center in St. Louis is here to help you earn your high school diploma, tuition-free and on your schedule. With convenient locations in downtown St. Louis and Florissant, you can learn at your pace, with support every step of the way. Need childcare, career coaching, flexible classes? We've got you covered. Registration is now open. Don't wait to take the next step toward your future. Visit excel.mersgoodwill.org to enroll today. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
It is exactly 80 degrees at the Arch. We're only 5 degrees from what they anticipate to be our high of 85. Clouds rolling in throughout the day. Potentially a shower or two tomorrow, a high of only 81.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sportsbook at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circus Sports. It's sports betting, the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circusports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circus Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The first dogwoods in bloom, the smell of fresh-cut grass, and weekends on the patio. A great landscape isn't just planted, it's nourished. That's why the pros use premium compost to improve soil structure and water retention naturally. Black Gold Compost is STA certified and OMRI listed, the professional grade foundation your lawn and garden deserve. Top dress your lawn or refresh your beds today. Visit stlcompost.com or one of our 9 locations. Give your soil the home field advantage with St. Louis Composting.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores with you, and AI is, gosh, I don't know. For the foreseeable future, Michael, it is going to be a big topic of conversation as we see how it affects our daily lives, not just our social media algorithms, but our education and our careers. And Hadass Gold joins us now. She's the AI correspondent for CNN and has a recent piece for CNN on how to AI-proof your job. And Hadass, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey guys, great to be with you.
I have to admit, I'm pretty cynical when it comes to AI. And instead of AI doing the grunt work, it seems that we're letting AI do all the creative stuff, the artistic, fun stuff, and it's taking those jobs from people. So I guess, first of all, what are you seeing with AI and how it's affecting the workplace?
Well, the first place we're really seeing AI affect the workplace is in software development and coding, because that's a place where AI has proven to be really efficient and good, is making all of the code that runs everything we do online and on our computers. It used to be that you needed a team of, 6 people to create an app on your phone. They needed a few weeks. Now anybody who doesn't have a single bit of knowledge on coding can create their own app through these AI systems. Often they're just off the shelf. You just type in what you want. You kind of have a conversation, and then they build a whole working app for you. And so that's really changed the game in software development. But one thing that is notable is some of these tech companies say that you might think, okay, well, now you can get rid of all of your software developers because AI can code for you. And what they're finding is instead, everything is just expected to go so much faster. Everyone's expected to be so much more efficient that now software developers are more like AI code managers, where they run multiple AI coding agents and they're all doing that work. But, they still need a human to manage them and to make sure they're doing the right thing. And I think that's where a lot of sort of the future of AI is going to be, is that we're not at the point yet where AI can totally replace a human being, and there will still be humans involved in these jobs, but they're going to be probably fewer of them. And they're the one going to be, instead of a team of 10, maybe a team of 2 who are managing a bunch of AI agents doing work for them.
So is the way to AI proof your job to get in on AI, become the expert on AI in your own field and hold on tight?
Exactly. So I can walk you through, I talked to a bunch of experts on this about, if you're sitting there and you're freaking out about AI taking your job, first of all, the first thing is to really look at your job and audit your role. Think about your tasks that you do every day and those functions of your job where you're sitting at a computer or you're kind of typing things in, things that are predictable, repeatable, rule-based. Think about getting raw data and turning it into something else. If one of your jobs is to, do expense reports, if one of your job is to get your sales numbers and turn it into a graph to present to at a meeting, it is those functions that are more vulnerable to AI. And that's where you see people who work in anything that's hands-on, like healthcare, hospitality, the skilled trades. They're better off because we are far, far away from robots being able to, fix the leaky pipe in your house. Once you have done sort of the audit of your job, look at those tasks where you're sitting at a computer. You're like, okay, those are vulnerable to AI. think about those skills that AI can't do. So if you're in sales, your networking, your ability to build a relationship with somebody, your ability to, close the deal with somebody, keep that relationship going, invest in those skills. For me as a journalist, that might be interviewing skills or building good sources, because anybody can take, a press release and a few other data points, any AI can, and turn it into a story. And then finally, the last tip that these experts had for me is, like you said, embrace AI. Don't run away from it. It's coming, whether you like it or not. Get familiar with the major AI systems, talk with all the different chatbots, understand how they work, and try to get them to help you in your job. And then if you want to go a step further, learn how AI agents work. That's the next big thing in AI. So beyond those chatbots and ChatGPT that you just, ask questions to, AI agents are AI systems that work independently. You can give them a long list of tasks and it can complete them, kind of like an assistant, and it can make decisions on your behalf. And you can make your own AI agent, and you can actually go into any of your favorite, ChatGPT or whatever. You might need to pay for a higher tier of their feature and ask them, walk me through step by step how to make my own AI agent to do whatever I need to do in my job, whether that's, monitor gas prices or something like that. And it can help you do that.
My question with, leaning into AI, saying, okay, well, if you want to keep your job, become better at AI. Isn't that what we told coders like 5 years ago? Like if you want job security, code, but AI moved so much faster that now AI can code itself and coders are losing jobs. So isn't there a chance that AI is moving so quickly that as we lean into the skills of using AI will be able to perform those tasks without us within just a couple of years?
I think it's so hard to predict the future, but I think the biggest difference about the whole, like, you should learn how to code that everybody was talking about a few years ago is that there was still a high barrier to entry for coding because you had to understand it. And the barrier to entry for AI is so much lower because it uses natural language and it's just kind of about having a conversation with these bots. And it's something that we are already seeing being integrated into a lot of these companies. And I want to remind people that it's still going to take some time for these big companies to integrate AI into their systems because, I talk to CEOs and they'll be like, yeah, some of our systems are decades old that we're still using. And it's really hard to, change a big organization once it's already sort of set in their ways. But I do think that it can make your position really valuable to a company if you can say, I understand this new technology, I know how it works, and I know how to make it help me do my job better and faster and maybe even cheaper and more efficient. And, if somebody is looking at a team and, okay, well, we're going to go from a team of 10 to a team of 2 people who can manage AI agents. Well, that person already knows how to manage AI agents, so I'm going to keep them on. And you want to be that person.
Well, the reality is this is so overwhelming, right? We're all learning that we've got to try to AI-proof our own job. Many of us at the same time are paying a hefty chunk of change or watching our kids take on a hefty load of debt to get an education that maybe AI is going to replace what they're being trained for. Is this a cycle that's just ultimately going to eat up all the jobs, including what we're watching our kids supposedly get trained for?
Yeah, there is a fear because one thing we're seeing happening is that AI is replacing a lot of those jobs everyone was always told to go to college for. Those 6-figure salary jobs, whether it be in law or finance or accounting. These were the solid white collar jobs. You maybe went to school, you got a lot of debt, but you could pay it off because you got a really good job afterwards. And those are the jobs, especially the entry level ones, that are most susceptible to being usurped by AI and AI coming in and taking those jobs. And so, it's such a hard thing to have a conversation with. But I do think that, again, anybody who is, thinking about what field they want to go into, obviously this is changing, but I do think that, entry level jobs are still going to be required. There's just going to be a lot fewer of them. I think about my first job in journalism, and I definitely don't think that you need a human being to do that anymore. And an AI system or any sort of software system could do it. And so I think that's a lot of questions that a lot of people are having. Is does my kid even need to go to a traditional liberal arts college? Or should they, focus on skilled trades? Or should they, just teach themselves how to do a lot of computer programming? When I'm in Silicon Valley, a lot of these, founders of these startups that are being valued at billions of dollars are college dropouts, like we've seen in the past, who just taught themselves how to create these systems and how to work with these systems. And I think even if you went to school right now for AI or for machine learning, 4 years from now when you graduate, it would be a totally different industry because things are moving so quickly. And one thing I did hear from the experts is, it will still matter, if almost even more, the human skills that AI cannot do. So again, your emotional and social awareness, your ability to connect with people, the things that AI just can't be physically there to do for you. Your reputation will matter almost more than anything else because that's just something that AI can't do.
And that is something that concerns me because, like you said, a lot of these founders, are people, my age, in my 40s, I didn't grow up with AI. I didn't grow up with smartphones. I didn't grow up with ed tech, but we know that younger generations at very young ages are already relying on AI at a time when they should be developing those very skills that differentiate them from AI. And that seems to me concerning, that if our schools were struggling with literacy, with communication, where kids can cheat on papers, on essays, or even use ChatGPT to help them write a breakup texts, will the next generation have the skills to separate themselves from the AI?
And I think that's where you're going to see the ones who are successful are going to be the ones who manage to kind of keep challenging themselves in that way. And I think you are seeing a bit of a trend amongst young people who they don't like AI. And they are some of the, when you look at the polling, the Gen Z and, the younger millennials are some of the ones who are most concerned about AI and its impact. So even if they're using it, they're not necessarily huge fans of it. And I'm even seeing, the whole kids trying to go back to analog, carrying digital cameras around, where I've heard from young people, it's not cool if you're sitting at a party scrolling on your phone. And so that makes me a little bit hopeful, but I do think that will separate, some of that generation, those who can do things on their own, who are not reliant on an AI chatbot for everything, versus those who are.
Yeah, the ability to communicate, to have a mastery of the English language or whatever your language is, to be able to write, communicate. Whether you're going to be an English teacher or a physicist, you have to be able to communicate. And that, kind of keeping that in mind, like that type of skill set, you note in your piece that you focus on skills that are not repeatable, predictable, and rule-based. And do you think you can apply that methodology to a lot of the jobs that you mentioned that could be vulnerable to AI, whether it is an accountant, a lawyer, or a finance professional?
Yeah, and I think, I'm not an accountant, so I don't know exactly what they're all doing in their day-to-day, but I imagine that there is a bit of, work in accounting that involves having an organizational awareness of your company and how it works. And, what are the best ways that you could use AI to make your accounting firm more efficient? And that's the way where, a lot of your day-to-day tasks that were taken up of, inputting data can be shifted off to an AI, but an AI, has a hard time taking the 30,000-foot view of your company. How does my firm work? What's something that's, in our way that maybe we can help fix? And I also want to remind everyone, we talk a lot about sort of doom and gloom when it comes to AI, but there are some amazing benefits that this technology can have. And so, if you're into the sciences, your kid is into sciences and wants to go, loves chemistry, AI is doing amazing things helping the scientists to find, how current medicines we have could be used for other diseases we never thought of, or finding, the cures to other diseases, or finding cancer before other things can find cancer. And I think that the element of AI in healthcare is huge, and that is a space where they're going to need scientists who can work with these AI systems, but it's now going to help develop things on such a faster pace. And you can apply that for other things as well. But especially in healthcare, I think AI in healthcare is a really, really exciting place that if my kid was old enough to go to college, I'd be like, go study a sciences where you can use AI as part of that.
Really good stuff. Hadas, thank you. I'm definitely the doomsdayer, so I've really enjoyed reading your work. You have great information. CNN.com, Hadas Gold. Again, the CNN AI correspondent. You can follow her on Twitter, Hadas, Hadas _Gold. thank you again for joining us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
That is Hadass Gold joining us on the Quiver River Electric guest line. All right, Michael Kelly, a few more minutes, and I believe you've got that we're going to get to. You've got an issue with your algorithm.
Oh my gosh,
it's being weaponized against you.
Right. Although I never thought about using AI for a breakup text, like you said.
Oh man!
Can you imagine what an AI breakup text?
I can, because I've read them.
After weighing the positives and negatives of our relationship.
Yes, it gives you a bullet point. It is happening. I have read from friends and their kids who are in high school, and they are using AI.
Can you imagine getting a text for breaking up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and it's from AI? That ought to tell you right there how deep that relationship was.
That's great. Well, it's high school. That's
right.
A good point. All right, Michael Kelly and his weaponized algorithm next on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
There are many reasons to hire Morgan & Morgan for your injury case. Here's reason 17. In today's new world, many law firms have had money injected into their firms by Wall Street, private equity, and other lenders. This money usually comes in at very, very high interest rates. It's one of the reasons you see so many lawyers advertising. I'm John Morgan. This money is expensive and the interest compounds quickly. These law firms can have a huge need for cash just to pay that debt. Why does it matter to you? My fear is your case is settled early and for far less than it's worth, just to service the loan that has mafia-like rates. Our financial strength is your advantage. That plus our reputation makes our firm your firm. Visit forthepeople.com to see our results and verdicts. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Save big on your next project right now at Menards. Improve your home's appearance with a new garage door from Ideal Door. Updating your garage door is the #1 project for return on your investment, instantly increasing the value of your home. Choose a new door from our large in-stock selection or customize your own using our free garage door designer. Check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Feel the rhythm and turn it up, St. Louis. Legendary rock icons Santana and the Doobie Brothers are bringing the heat to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 20th for the Oneness Tour 2026. From Black Magic Woman to Listen to the Music, this is the concert event fans don't want to miss. It'll be a summer night soon not forgotten. Santana, the Doobie Brothers. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, go to KMOX.com/events.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds. And you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/protect. That's ethos.com/protect. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey now, it's Michael Kelly with Amy Markscores. Chris Ranji will be back with you tomorrow for the Chris and Amy Show,
yes,
correct?
I believe live from Washington, D.C.
Provided he's not in the clink from climbing one of the fences that you're encouraging him to climb.
Ideally, he does it while we're live. I would hope that you can hear the ambiance of it.
So Hancock and Kelly are with you on a Friday. It's a Hancock and Kelly Friday, except Kelly's not going to be here. You're going to be just Hancock tomorrow.
Okay.
So you'll have to put up with those two boys without me. And Amy, I am the algorithm. I'm about to throw the phone out the window.
Okay.
I am petrified of snakes.
Okay.
Like, it is my ultimate fear in life. In fact, when we used to have our producer, Chris Myhill, he was like, let me get somebody from the zoo to bring in a python. And I was like, no, dude, our relationship would be over with.
I remember that because,
right.
Yeah, he wanted to, like, as a practical joke or scare you. But there is the funny scared, and then there is the you betrayed me and our friendship is over.
No, it would have been over with.
Yeah.
But I am getting constant snakes on my algorithm. I don't Google snakes. Whenever they show up, I try to go by it real quick so that it doesn't think that I want to see more snakes.
Yeah.
But I'm getting so many snakes in my algorithm now that, like, at nighttime, so I live in a building, and I'm on the 4th floor of a 10-story building. And the 4th floor is the 1st floor of the building, if that makes sense. There's a pool there, etc. So I'm able to open my door on this beautiful weather we're having. And my biggest fear, I'm laying in bed last night with my door open, and I thought, what if a snake comes slithering into my house right now? I'm on the 4th floor of a building.
Yeah.
But this is what's going through my head because the snakes are on my algorithm. And, I don't mind it when it's a pretty blonde and all of a sudden it shows me more pretty blondes. But when it shows me a snake, what I'm saying, the algorithm doesn't seem to want to feed me the things that I want to look at. It's feeding me the things I don't want to look at. Did your algorithm feed you bad things?
Well, I mean, not like booby things, if that's what you mean.
Well, no, I didn't mean boobies. Like, what are you afraid of? Like, I'm afraid of snakes.
It's really interesting. You had to have clicked. Did you click anything like how to avoid snakes?
I'm sure that at one time or another, an article popped up about, snakes on the rise in Missouri, and I probably read it, and now I've got snake.
Yes, I don't get any. Okay. My algorithm is overwhelmingly like mountain hiking, climbing, but then like running and eating. But here's where and this is actually serious because this is really, really bad for women, but especially young girls. Because I follow runners and, here's some running exercises to help prevent injury, to have stronger glutes, or quads, to stretch your hamstrings. And you click on those, so more show up. Then you also click on these great, I'm not a good cook, but I'm a good chopper. So I eat a lot of salads and vegetables. Oh, these are great recipes.
I like that.
But why does it always go toxic? Because now, I am not joking, my algorithm shows me unhealthy people. I would say flirting with like pro-anorexia, you know what I mean? Or girls that are very, very thin, going, here's how I get my legs thinner, which is so unhealthy. And I'm not saying all weight loss is unhealthy, but you can tell when it turns a corner.
Sure.
And so that's kind of a bummer because I was just following runners and some good food. And it's like the algorithm wants to take you to a bad place.
And so when I hear these lawsuits against Meta and all these folks, I'm like cheering them on now because I totally think they are manipulating it for whatever purposes. to mess with our heads because, I mean, I clearly don't want to see snakes. I go soaring past them, but now I feel like I'm inundated with snakes. It felt
you know what?
Yeah.
It could be the fact that you're talking about it.
Well,
and the phone is listening.
All the more reasons we got to sue these people and stop it.
Michael Kelly, thanks for joining us.
I love being here with you, Amy.
I love when you join, and we're going to miss you tomorrow. It won't be the same, but have fun. We'll have John Hancock tomorrow, plus Chris Ranji live from Washington, D.C. But next, we've got the Gas House Gang.
Seven, 8, 10-year-old kids being indoctrinated in gambling while our parents and grandparents are all in playing bingo.
Time now for today's Spotlight on